We'll find out. Game 1 is here, and it is going to be on Outcrop. I know that Nili and Vinchester had speculated that maybe Yo would have Burgundians on Arena, but we have our answer that that is not going to be the case. Yo with the Burgundians in the red, TaToH playing as the Tatars Dash in the blue.
Yeah, so I'm curious what you make of the Burgundians pick, because Tatars feels natural, of course, on Outcrop, given the existence of the hills, that kind of line either side of the map. Tatars love to snag control of those hills and use them for an advantage in fights. But Burgundians, of course, beautiful booming civ, early eco upgrades, as we see already coming in for Yo, so just traditionally strong from that regard.
Yep. Yo, no clearing for him. He does not want to play that map. He has chosen to ban fortified clearing most of the time. Again, we'll see Arena later on. Interesting little tidbit there. But, you know, Yo, this is not the first time that he's chosen Burgundians on a map where we hadn't seen Burgundians yet. And it was actually against TaToH in the group stage where he went Burgundians on Graveyards against TaToH Saracens to get the win. So he's really confident with this civilization, but it is, I believe, the first time we've seen the civilization on Outcrop. Tatars, though, more of a familiar pick for TaToH. We haven't seen it as consistently in this event in the group stage leading up towards now, but in Red Bull, where he was the Red Bull Wololo 6 champion, he won with Tatars against Aztec. So a very comfortable pick here for TaToH.
Yeah, most definitely. In this tournament, it's been a deeper reach, but as we're in best of 7s and with 3 bans today, as compared to the 2 that we saw in our series yesterday, no surprise that the players have to go a little bit deeper into that strategy book to close out the map and civ draft. Very early walling here from Yo as our Burgundians player, opting for an earlier eco upgrade in double bit axe. Still no farms, but that's not a surprise given the number of herdables that you can find on this map.
Yeah, and that's a big reason why you might want to prefer the Tatars, is just getting more food from your herdables on a map that has so many. That's going to last you a long time, and it really allows for some flexibility. TaToH's getting Loom. He's going to be heading towards Feudal Age, so this will most likely be a Feudal Age opening for him. But one important distinction from this map versus the Graveyards game that we saw Yo play Burgundians on is that there is no stone around your starting town center here. So the big fear when you're playing against Yo when he's Burgundians is that he's going to wall with the early eco upgrades, get onto stone, and then drop a castle and go for the unique unit. That's not going to be an easy job here for Yo.
Now, T90, I got a lot of questions already, though, about how much TaToH is going to get done with that Feudal Age click, because the walls are almost complete here back at home for Yo, and I don't believe that TaToH has gotten his scout forward to see that just yet.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, this has been a common thing with the 9-villager start, particularly here where you're also incentivized to go to the sides to get the sheep and the cows. We just don't see players scout their opponents opening a lot. It's a lot of assuming. And TaToH, you know, he's just going to do his thing here. But if you were to invest into Army, he's not going to break through. The bigger question now is, does Yo just want to stay in Dark Age? Because he's already working off of Feudal Age eco upgrades. Or is he going to go to Feudal Age behind this at some point soon? It doesn't look like it.
Yeah, I'm 2 more vills rather in the queue with 24 on the field already. Feels like a, well, I was going to say naked fast castle play, but it's not because he's got the walls up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's a little bit of cover, I guess.
Partially clothed fast castle.
There it is. There it is. All right, TaToH hits Feudal Age. It's just a spear in production at the moment while he goes for some eco upgrades for himself and drops a stable. We'll be able to establish a little bit of map control and create an annoyance at most, kind of battering away at his opponent's walls, and just now coming forward to find out the reality of his situation.
I was just thinking it wouldn't be too crazy for TaToH to eventually tower here. I'm very curious on this. He's going to see those 2 houses and the palisades. That he'll also see the gold there, right? And there's only going to be 2 golds that Yo can access. If TaToH feels like, oh no, I have to do damage to this guy, he might come forward and tower here. But I'll also tell you, it never feels great. Because you've gone up feudal quite fast, you don't have that many villagers. You don't really want your vills to be like waltzing across the map either. So it's a tough decision for TaToH right now.
And you may have noticed that there when he arrived at the walls, he definitely clicked inside the walls to figure out whether or not there was any hole. And from that point, the scout went straight towards the wall and stopped, meaning I don't even have to scout the rest to know what the situation is. And we'll go back out to scout for a few more herdable stops. His scout production at the moment at 2. Perhaps as a result of seeing those walls and thinking more now about his transition to the Castle Age.
This is interesting. TaToH just being annoying here. Doesn't look like he'll come forward. He did create 1 additional scout, which is currently searching for Yo's scout, I believe. because he saw Yo was around his base. Yo's actually really close to his base, but Yo's close to feudal, so he should be okay. Cav Archers is probably the go-to unit here for the Tatars. I think Burgundians kind of struggle against the Cav Archers due to the Cav Archers having the mobility, but also the Burgundians not really having the best of skirmishers. So I think TaToH will be somewhat okay with this situation as long as his walls are down and he can have a solid castle time behind this. But yet again, there's Yo, and he's going to go Blacksmith Market here, Dash. So the next question then is, I actually might go Blacksmith Stable. No, there's the Blacksmith and there's the Market. Is Yo going to try and be aggressive with the early Castle Age, or is he going to sneak out and try and get a TC on the Golden Stone on the sides? Like, TaToH has the scouts to be able to stop this, or at least be able to spot it. I'm really curious to see how sneaky Yo is.
I'm just as curious as we see our first military engagement of the game, and it's between two scouts on the hill. TaToH with a health advantage here, and another scout arriving to reinforce means that Yo is forced away. Spear to protect, won't find any hits, and so far no kills have come through.
Ooh, it's worth it. Oh, that was so good.
Just like that. Wonderful micro there from TaToH to find the first kill of the game and remove the only scout on the map from Yo.
I wonder if we could see Yo's scouting here, because from my perspective, he scouted a little bit on the right side, and then he had scouted TaToH's base. Okay, so he can see areas where he might want to go out for a town center, but he now knows TaToH has two scouts. So the last that he saw, TaToH was headed towards the left side. I'm waiting to see if Yo moves out here. I wouldn't. I'd probably be like, oh no, that's too much of a risk. TaToH's too good. But Yo is known for the sneaky moves.
Yeah, Wolf getting involved in the fight for now. Unfair. There were two red spears there. He's fighting for that side as well. Gonna contribute to the kill and then switch teams.
This is actually amazing. TaToH, give the Wolf the kill. Screw up our stats here.
Oh, too funny.
It's 2 deaths for Yo.
Yeah, he did. The Wolf, 2 kills. You gotta love it.
Woo.
Lots of action so far early on Outcrop, but it's between the players and Gaia, not the players themselves. Castle Age 20 seconds away for Mr. Yo, so we'll have our answer to the questions that we've been asking soon here, Tristan, as we see 4 villagers making their way to the right-hand side. It'll likely be one of those early TC drops.
Yeah, I think TaToH's sending 1 archer out because he just wants a little bit of extra action on the map. But in reality, those 2 scouts are weak from earlier. Yo did add a spearman, and Yo drops the town center we thought he would drop here, Dash. We'll take the wood, obviously. There's a couple trees there, but the priority was actually the stone. And TaToH expecting this, confirming this now. He's got a target, and remember, he is Tatars, so if he ever had siege up on that hill, I'm not sure if he could exactly range it, or, you know, the Cav Archers out in the field. Yo could have some problems.
It's great to get that vision and be aware of what your opponent's going for. At the same time, there's a third TC going back up at home for Mr. Yo on the wood line as these spears just continue to defend the 4 villagers that are working away to get this TC up and running.
Yeah, so Yo talked to me yesterday, and he said that in the interview, so those that are watching could go back and listen to it, that he feels like he gets better the longer the series goes, and so he prefers best of 7s. And so maybe by like game 3 is when he really feels like he's at his best. This is a strategy, which is interesting to me because it's not like an aggressive opening that, you know, Yo is capable of. And I think possibly it's a bit of greed to help him ease his way, you know, into the series. Relying on the basics of the economy, hoping he can go for some damage control, and so far, it's been pretty good. He's going to drop a stable behind all this, or some other building, I'm not entirely sure. And TaToH's not going to get in yet, and TaToH is now going to start making Cav Archers, but TaToH's got some catching up to do in terms of the economy.
Yeah, thinks better of it for a moment, but then does go for that stable eventually. It's going to be a monastery immediately for TaToH upon reaching the Castle Age, and he as well goes to the same side as his opponent, and he does this with the knowledge of where Mr. Yo is at.
Really interesting, too, because TaToH will have seen that Yo town-centered the stone, which means that Yo's plan is no military, except the spearmen, sorry, spearmen, no significant military until a castle comes up, and it is common for any civilization to try and make a castle on the outer sides here. So TaToH's got an opportunity to deny that, and so the Cav Archers are going to go out, but TaToH also adding the monastery to grab some relics and maybe even convert the unique unit he's expecting Yo to make eventually.
Yeah, relic control, those Cav Archers, like you mentioned, with only 2 TCs, so a bit more aggression coming out of our TaToH's player. And gotta wonder what he'll get done and whether or not there will be an attempt at a faster Imperial Age off of those 2 TCs, or if he'll just add a 3rd or 4th a bit later on.
I want to see Flaming Camels. Can we get viewers to say Flaming Camels? Because if you say it, it'll happen. Just think. Post-imp battle, like tons of paladins. TaToH's got cav archers, and then a couple flaming camels go.
Don't underestimate the power that we hold too. Yesterday, Dave and I were screaming for the siege tower, and we got it. So I've got high hopes, honestly, that flaming camels can exist in this game. Finally, a couple of those cav archers get forward to look to see if they can find any damage or harassment over the walls. They will spot the siege workshop going up at home for Yo. Yo also investing to buy stone here, so really wants to get a castle down. And did it just get placed?
Yeah. TaToH's like, what? Where are the villagers? Like, This is so weird. But it's so good from Yo, right? He placed the outpost ahead of time on the front. The TC position was protecting the stone perfectly. He will get that up, and Yo's got an eco lead now. He's got 52 villagers versus TaToH's 45. And the beauty of the unit that he's about to create is 1 or 2 hits can add up so greatly, because the initial hit with the Custier packs so much damage in it. So it's going to be tricky for TaToH. He's had this mindset of, let's split up 2 cav archers here, 2 cav archers there. This is where you now need to shift that focus, and there needs to be more togetherness with your cav archer numbers.
Yeah, unit control is going to be huge in this one, as well as making sure that those walls at home stay up to protect the eco and prevent the Custier from getting in for some villager raiding. TaToH answers my earlier question by putting a 3rd TC up at home after starting military production. So wanted that map control, a little bit of a harassment, but is still going to try and keep some pace here in the villager counts overall.
This is so good for Yo right now. Like, the cav archer mass isn't significant, and it's not at a point where TaToH's actually finding any damage. So Yo, he's not going to commit to any bad fights because he doesn't have to. And that's the difference here. If TaToH is able to get 15, 20 cav archers, start to bust through some holes in walls or something, then Yo's forced to take bad engagements. But Yo's just going to chill. He's going to counterattack now with 3 of these units, and he's going to find a monk there.
TaToH's been housed for about a minute and a half.
Oof.
Okay, right as I say it, house completes. Pop cap now is 75 and 80, so can get back into that production, but definitely stalled out the mass and the villager production to a degree. Custier finally arriving forward to see if they could knock on the door of TaToH's base, but with a couple ranged units tucked behind those walls, they'll be pushed around. TaToH continues to look for harassment. Not a single villager kill has come through in this game, and that, I think, only favors the Burgundians player who's been in full boom mode.
Yo is just so good with the Burgundians, man. He is so good. No conversion there for TaToH. So, there's this point where the cav archer mass will get significant enough where they start to 1- and 2-shot the units that Yo is making. So it's important for Yo that he distracts TaToH and makes sure that TaToH has to split up his groups, and that he gets good enough value until he drops that next castle. I don't know where the next castle goes here, Dash, though, because it's like, you probably don't want to YOLO one forward to castle drop TaToH. Just a 4 TC there, typical Yo. But also, you don't know where you need to defend currently, so I think it's going to be an adaptation thing for Yo. And maybe if TaToH ever gets the CA mass to be able to pressure the main base, because there's a lot of farms there, maybe then we will see Yo shift his focus towards the second castle.
Yeah, it could honestly just be a slow creep up the right-hand side here, right? Keep establishing control, TC into castle, into TC into castle, building towards your opponent. TaToH himself going for a 4th TC on the same side, so it won't be too long until their buildings are within each other's vision. And I think that will force us to ask the question of, again, when those imp timings come in and we really start to see any pressure in that regard with Trebs.
Yep. TaToH, no bloodlines on his cav archers, so that's an important upgrade that he has to make sure he researches. No ballistics either. That's kind of standard timing, though, to just delay it. If he would have gone for the ballistics upgrade, I don't think he would have found the value from it anyways. But he's kind of split up here. And again, 50 HP on his cav archers. And when the units do hit for Yo, they're going to be getting some decent damage in there. And both players trading some units away. But Yo's got way more, and this could be tough for TaToH.
Yeah, a few kills coming through there for Yo, but another pack of the CA come in from behind and snipe the monk. Now they'll look to kite along the ridge of these mountains, all the way back to the safety of their own base. TaToH 0 on gold. As I say, it moves 5 there.
Yep.
It had been some time since he had anyone producing that gold. Another monk looking for the snipe on the Custier, but instead he gets sniped by another.
And Yo, I think slowly starting to pull ahead here. TaToH 16 Cav Archers. It's 12 Coustier here for Yo, and Yo's been able to keep his eco rolling here. And TaToH's going to drop a castle in front of his gold and stone on the right. Should be able to do that, but it's interesting, Dash, that both players have expanded to the sides, but it's the same exact side.
Yeah, and with every passing minute, we get closer and closer with those structures being placed. Coustier, though, find a few kills and will harass the villagers that are trying to get this castle up. I think over time, and with the support of some CA, TaToH will manage to complete it. But he wouldn't have hated to get it down already. There's that Bloodlines Q that you were asking for a little bit earlier. A nice help for the CA if they ever do get the gap closed on them.
Yeah, big mistake from TaToH not to have that earlier. Also, Husbandry, I don't know if either player's researched that.
That's come in for TaToH at the very least.
Okay, there you go. I think both players probably have that by now then. But this is precisely what Yo would want. And it's a similar spot he found himself to against TaToH in their group stage series, which TaToH ended up winning 3-1. Just raid with the Coustier, keep your crazy eco untouched, and look at Yo behind this. He sees the castle goes up. He knows they're close. He's got a castle to the left of our screen here. Going up, he wants to trap that castle down from TaToH.
He's leapfrogging forward.
So good.
I absolutely love it. He's literally leapfrogging forward from TC to castle. So it'll be 2 castles to 1 here at the moment. And Yo is the first to click up to Imp, which means he'll likely have the privilege of putting the pressure on.
It's just so impressive how Yo plays his civilization. It's so interesting that this civilization wasn't sniped. Maybe something we can talk about later, because TaToH had lost to it. It was the only game that he lost in their best of 5. And TaToH felt like he had a plan. I really like Cav Archers, and now the Cav Archer numbers starting to do something for TaToH.
I was going to say, those are really good finds right there for TaToH, removing some Coustier numbers from the field, and does so with that hill advantage that is oh so important to the Tatars. Also, finding these gold vills off to the left-hand side, completely unprotected. Of course, vills can take that fight against a singular scout, but now Yo has to be concerned that a raiding party will come forward and make quick work of all of those miners.
Yo's like, I need a TC really fast. And TaToH is on the way. So I think it's likely TaToH could deny that. We'll see. It will be very close. He's got a Step Lancer.
Step Lancer alone actually can do some serious damage here and possibly prevent it from going up before the Cav Archers arrive. Also takes that as his cue to send some villagers out to the left-hand side, throw a TC up for himself.
Oh, man.
And back at home gets great quick walls up to prevent a Coustier raid. And here are the Cav Archers finding the Vill snipes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Finishing off the 8th villager. And there that TC stopped at a very high percentage.
That was some clutch plays from TaToH, right? Because Yo was trying to punish him for heading away from his base by breaking through there. Crazy damage control from TaToH. Made that look so easy. So few players could stop it there. And he continues with nice damage control here, but I'm sure his heart just dropped because he saw Imperial Age for Yo. He knows the castle's there too, and he's probably like, what do I do?
Yeah, when there's an opposing castle within the vision of your own, and your opponent hits Imp 2.5 minutes before you do, that's a scary sight. Also, hole in the wall, and unfortunately didn't get the quick wall behind, but does so now. Will only sacrifice a couple of villagers in order to get that up and protect the majority of his eco. Nicely done.
That was insane, because a couple units got in there. He couldn't really gate it, but Yo, he probably double-clicked his units to put them all in one group before he ran back in, and TaToH just saw the opportunity. But I'm still concerned for TaToH, because he's got, what, like 40 villagers on this right-hand side? That's a big concern. Even if he has the other side castled with gold and whatever else, that's a lot of eco. And Yo is pretty much even with TaToH on eco and an age up. TaToH needs to respond to this, but he cannot go underneath that castle.
Yeah, I think your concerns are reasonable over there on the right-hand side. Very little stone in the bank as well to try and repair through those treb shots. Still 50 seconds that he has to delay before the Imperial Age. And honestly, at this point, probably should consider running those vills to safety and just trading sides of the map.
I think he has faith that he can somehow stay inside of his TCs for just long enough for his Cav Archers to come over. But at least the forward town center is really going to be rough. And look, he's just going to add another TC. So the TCs are... I don't know if they're going to be enough here, but that's TaToH's plan.
I honestly feel like he's going to get steamrolled here. I think he's disrespected this push a little bit too much. Yes, he's trying to force up another TC and does go for some of those Cav Archer upgrades, but they're completely on the opposite side of the map. No opportunity to help these villagers who are now getting massacred underneath the TCs themselves.
Interesting moment here, though. TaToH is using the TC to shoot that Treb, which in turn means the other TC actually stays alive a bit longer. Gives TaToH more time to swing over with Cav Archers. I'm with you, Dash. He should have the majority of his Cav Archers over here currently, and he somehow does not.
I mean, honestly, being given a gift by Mr. Yo that these two Trebs have come this far forward. He was able to snipe one with the TC, maybe decides to focus the other one down just with villagers. No, instead will opt to run and look for the retreat back to the main base, but I think all of those vills go down to the Coustier, save possibly one who might make it back to Cav Archer cover. Cav Archers on the top of the hill, only 6 of them though, so they're not a great threat to Coustier at the moment. Rest of the vills over here, 15 of them about to go down to the Coustier of his opponent.
There's no way to save him. There's no way to save him. Now what TaToH was trying to do was correct. He was trying to prevent Yo from expanding to the left side, but he didn't have the value, and now he has to respect the army on the right. And what's going to happen is, it already happened. Yo noticed the army was in the middle, and he has finished the TC on that left-hand side. Great awareness from Yo to realize that the weakness of the Cav Archers is that they have to be in one position, Dash.
Yeah.
So he simply just split up constantly here.
Yo making a quick work of the right-hand side and now has full control of that position on the map. That said, nice mass of Cav Archers kind of playing the protector from the top of the hill to make sure that Yo can't as easily transition all of his pressure over to the main base or even the northern satellite village that TaToH has built. His attempt is going to be to expand this way and extend the game.
Could be wrong. Honestly feel like we could see another revolution here, because the way this the way this plays out right now is Yo's going to do a bunch of raiding, but he hasn't traded against the Cav Archers. And if the Cav Archer mass is at 50 or 60, after like 20 or so minutes, if Yo still has unprotected eco, I could see him considering it. He shouldn't do it now, but we've seen Revolution once or twice.
Well, I'll be honest, I wouldn't even hate it in not too long from the perspective that TaToH doesn't have a single defensive castle up in his main eco, right? And it'll be very, very difficult with just 47 Cav Archers on the field to deal with that many military units coming forward. Let's see, Yo gets the rotation over, even going to prevent that extra TC from going up. And now with just Coustier alone, threatens the lives of another TC and more villagers. TaToH's in a very tough spot, trying to take the fight, managing his Cav Archers well from the hill. Will get a good engagement in that regard. Military units for military units, but just now pressing that 100 villager mark as we speak. Good surround as well, though. Yo doing a fantastic job to still get value out of this army.
And to be fair to like everyone who ever plays with the Civ, like that unit just does insane damage, right? And my favorite thing about Yo is how he's so comfortable when he has good economy to just trade with good fights because he knows he's going to have more. So many people worry about preserving numbers, but preserving numbers does not matter if you're always going to have the reinforcements. So he's got the reinforcements here. He's trying to raid with a couple units in TaToH's base. And yeah, Dash, like you said, like if the revolution were to happen, TaToH is completely dead.
Yeah.
But there's a slight risk in that, you know, obviously you then have no villagers. So why do that when you also, when this civilization can bring in gold from farms with the other unique tech and just keep expanding around the map?
Yeah, you can perhaps still take a much more measured approach and guarantee yourself the victory. But to the point you just made, take a look at the resource banks for both players. And that's after Yo sold about 1,500 wood just to pack a little bit more gold into the bank. He will have no issue replenishing his forces.
Wait. That's the Treb range upgrade, I believe. I believe that's Timorrid Siegecraft for TaToH. It is. That means he can make flaming camels.
Oh,
that means it also doesn't make a ton of sense to
no.
Trebuchet range, flaming camels.
Let it be. Just leave it be. Yeah,
I'm just saying, it's a little confusing.
Just let it be there.
But TaToH's going to try and make some flaming camels to save himself here.
Exactly. I like it.
It makes sense, though, because you need a lot of firepower to deal with these units, and 1 or 2 flaming camels could possibly make the difference. As I say it, though, Dash.
Sand demos.
He's got
on the way.
Sand demos.
That's what I like to call them. They're sand demos.
And
yeah.
here we go,
Let's
baby.
go, Flaming Camo. Looking for damage. I don't even know how much that did, if I'm being honest.
Me either.
But we got it. We asked for it. We got it.
No, don't use it there. Don't use it.
No, just going to sit there and watch.
What's weird is they only light up when they move. So you could just, like, sit there trying to blend in with, like, a stack of hay.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden run out with the camel.
I like that. Camouflage. We'll see if they can find some inventive and creative uses to find
camouflage? Was that intentional from you, or did you just...
It actually wasn't.
Okay, well played anyways.
I probably should have taken credit for it in that moment. All right, Treb's on the left-hand side, though, for Yo. Look how many castles he has on the field. He's putting up a 6th as we speak to just the 1 of TaToH on the other side, and the Coustier continue to wreak havoc upon villager lives. Even found an opportunity to break in. The GG is called for TaToH. The sand demos weren't enough to overcome.
They weren't, and they weren't because Yo just took way too much control. His economy was untouched. It was such a measured approach from Yo, and just this, it's the second time we've seen Yo play Burgundians on a map that isn't an arena map. Turns it into the exact game that he wants.
And what a pick for map number 1, right? We even heard Nili and Vinch talking about the Burgundians pick on the couch, right?
Yep.
And like, would that go to arena? And right out the gate, Yo kind of throws us a curveball. It's going to completely warp the rest of the map picks and civ picks, because if I'm in TaToH's situation, I'm not sure I ever expected that.
For sure.
And now I'm rethinking every other matchup that I might pick myself into from this point forward.
And TaToH takes his sweatshirt off. He's ready now.
Oh, there it is.
Ready.
Fully warmed up here at NAC 4, but the first win goes the way of Mr. Yo. Looking for 4 map wins total to take the set and move on to the top 4.
Yeah, that was a really good game from Yo. The type of game that helps you build confidence, that you can be a bit greedy as well against TaToH here. There's not going to be many maps that allow it to the same degree. Enclosed could, Hippo Arena could. TaToH will likely choose either Hippo Arena, Golden Swamp, or Rocky Forest. But, you know, one thing to mention there, because there's got to be some people out there like, my goodness, what do you even do to stop all that? Remember, Yo had to get stone on the outside. And I think TaToH fell into a spot where he was hoping to get damage in feudal and then saw walls. I actually believe he could have justified making a couple more archers or even a couple more scouts. He had good vision. He saw the TC was going up, but he couldn't deny it. And if you deny that TC, the rest of the game is yours, because you kill the villagers, delay the town center, but then delay the stone income.
Yeah, I agree. We even saw Yo having to buy 200 stone for that first castle because he felt how important it was to get that first one up and establish a real position on the right-hand side. So in complete agreement with you that it's either more feudal age army and or in castle, stick to the 2 TCs and you go first to imp and look to go forward with a castle of yourself and just pressure that single point on the map, right? Don't let the Coustier mask get to the point that it did. Don't let, or rather just threaten the eco and the villagers of your opponent as well. I think it had to be one or the other, a little bit more aggression, but all for naught in this time around. Mr. Yo takes the first map, and here we go onto Hippo Arena. It'll be Mr. Yo in the red as the Bohemians, and TaToH going back to his secret pick of the Khmer from earlier in the group stage.
Absolutely. A lot of things to talk about with this. I do want to bring up one more point because I'm just like, oh man, the previous game was so interesting to me. The other thing is TaToH knew where that TC was going for Yo, and that would likely be the castle side for Yo. He should have, it could have, you know, either or, made his town centers on the other side of that pressure in game number 1. So we'll see what the map control focus is on this game. Obviously very different from game number 1. TaToH, oh man, did he surprise us in the group stage. It was so interesting. So we were all, well, not all of us, but there was majority of us were sitting here watching, the ones that weren't casting. And we saw him with Khmer here. And Vinchester was very confused. I'm a little confused. And I'm just thinking, well, what's he going to do? I feel like every time I see Khmer on Arena, players just have a decent castle age time, fight for relics, and then go for inferior Arbalest, right, without thumb ring. That's literally what I said.
Yeah.
And then I saw the 4th TC, and then I saw the stone mining, and we were all like, what? So I think TaToH wants to consider ballista elephants here. Yo will have the knowledge that TaToH did that before. And Yo has gone for the Bohemians, a civilization that he has played with more than I think any other player. However, he has yet to win with them.
That's a very good point, right? Keeps going for the pick, not finding the success with it that he might want. however, has thrown the pick around to a couple different maps, most notably Enclosed, which was that very famous long game that you and I now had the privilege of casting. But back to the point of the Khmer pick here for TaToH and the fact that Yo is privy to the strat and what it was last time around. You always wonder if it'll be as effective a second time, and with that knowledge, it was a really tight build order up to the Castle Age by virtue of the Khmer not having to put down any extra buildings to advance into a big boom, followed by triple stable scout-like cav production to contest relics, get that stone into castles, and then it was just ballista elephants for the win.
Yeah, I think the key here, the key bonus for the Bohemians is going to be the fact that their pikeman line does bonus damage, or additional bonus damage, to be clear.
You got to get to them first.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think Yo's approach will be economy, and then he'll have pikemen accompany villagers across the map and try and drop a forward castle. Because if TaToH wants to go for ballista elephants, he needs time and he needs castles. And otherwise, the Khmer are kind of awkward. They like bomber cannons themselves. So I think that's the key for Yo, is early Imperial Age, after you have some good economy, enough pikemen to protect your villagers with a forward castle, bomber cannons, traps, and just push TaToH back before he can really get to that expensive unit.
I agree, and I think it's not too hard to get a good Imperial Age timing with Bohemians because of the fact that you get those mining upgrades for free. You can definitely use the market as well to accelerate the timing, and if you know that TaToH is likely going into 3, 4, maybe even 5 TCs, he'll have to invest quite some time before he can make the move to the next stage himself.
Yeah, so don't be too alarmed here if you're a Yo fan, because TaToH doesn't have to build his buildings to go up to the next stage. Look, he's got 1 on wood. He doesn't need the wood for buildings, so he shifts everyone onto, well, not everyone, but most villagers onto food and gold. So we will likely see TaToH being Castle Age way faster, and the assumption from our point is he's going to eventually get back on wood so he can go for town centers.
Yep. Food and gold, food and gold. Yep. Obviously, actually, he probably would have pulled that one vill if he hadn't locked it in against the wood line with the
True.
camp.
True. Like, I wonder if you could make a house like diagonally through the tree in the lumber camp, and then hop in it and out of it, and somehow get that villager on food.
Well, that could be tricky. Nice. Maybe he is going to go for that. Nope, not quite so much.
It looks like he's trying to chop him free at the moment.
He's one. Okay, he kept 1 vill onto gold. I was like, oh no, he's 1 gold short.
Oh yeah, he's good there. And TaToH shifting back on the wood because he likely wants the town centers. So if you haven't been watching the Hippo Arena, first of all, everyone go ooh and ah at how cool it looks. The minimap's amazing. But the difference between this and other versions of Arena you've probably seen is there's a lot more neutral resources in the middle, and then the players are much further apart. So we're going to see, I'm expecting to see very little scout production in the early Castle Age because there's so much ground to cover, and instead players just opt for the economy.
Yeah, immediately on his way to the Castle Age is TaToH with the Feudal Age eco upgrades coming in just behind that. For Yo, still needs to get these 2 buildings down as he arrives to the Feudal Age, looking to make his way to Castle 2. Scouting around the map. Relic positions aren't generally too hard to find, but you still want to get that info. And then it's just about map control and which of these players might opt for the monastery first to start bringing those back in.
Okay, so what TaToH did, it's been a couple days now, and we've both covered a lot of games, but it was 3 TCs, then he added 3 stables. Actually, it might have even been like 4 TCs.
He went to 4 TCs. And then it was
stables?
Yeah, and then it was 3 stables.
Okay. But can you do that if Yo makes a lot of spears? Again, we're getting ahead of ourselves because we won't see this for a bit here. But, oh, man, I'm so interested in this. I mean, Yo has had some good forward pressure on this version of the map. He's made it no secret. He does not like Arena.
Yeah, I think
he's got a plan.
I think the answer to that question, though, about how many stables and how many scouts you go for is largely based on the scouting that you pick up around your opponent, right? Because in that game, there were still 3 relics on the map at that point that he decided to drop the stables. And Dave and I were a little surprised by that fact, right?
Yep.
We were like, would have thought more of them would have come in for his opponent at that point. And so I guess if you're still able to contest for 3 relics, then I might go ahead and pump out 3 stables and a whole bunch of light cav. If I don't feel like that's an option for me anymore, might consider it a waste of food. Rather spend that in terms of getting to the Imperial Age faster and onto those Ballista Elephants if I consider that to be my late game composition.
Look at TaToH's head. Sorry, bobbing up and down. He plays with music.
He does. That man after my own heart, by the way, because I love listening to music while I play. I don't understand how people can do just the game sounds.
I can't. I won't hear an attack signal or something, and I just get so annoyed with myself.
Yeah, true. I probably miss plenty,
but
I'm not a pro, so.
I mean, I wasn't going to point that out, so. You know.
Oh, good. Thank you so much, my friend.
But I love how, I mean, TaToH lost the first game, right? Could be some added pressure, but he's like, I got this.
Yeah.
And he loves his Khmer.
Jamming.
Also, booming with the Khmer is very satisfying.
Yeah. I'm surprised it's not your favorite civ.
Why is that?
I will let you assume why. I would suggest it be
I can't assume a single
favorite
reason
civ
why.
of T90. But if we go back to TaToH's base, maybe we'll see why. Peculiar farm placement there, TaToH.
Okay. Yep. Well, listen, I made Khmer farms before they had that bonus. All right, I did it before it was
T90
cool.
was so ahead of the meta, man.
I'm a farm hipster over here.
I love that. I love that. All right, plenty of farms being dropped though, and the Khmer boom is fully underway. You can already see a 4-Vill lead, and this is before the TCs are complete for Mr. Yo. So do expect that to extend even a little bit further here, before they start matching each other 1-for-1.
One of my favorite things about arena booming with a civ like Turks or Bohemians is using the market. And you'll see a lot of the arena, like the arena-only style players or the Black Forest style players use that market a lot. You've got 4 on gold for a civilization that has their Feudal Age and Castle Age mining upgrades in already because it's free. So I expect Yo to buy food if need be, buy stone. He's actually mining stone if need be as well. Wow, so Yo's definitely thinking about that forward castle eventually here, Dash. That is actually a very early timing for the stone.
Yeah, monastery up, though, for Yo as well. So he wants to make a move for some of those relics, whereas on the side of TaToH, no more scouts in the queue, no monastery just yet, some villagers onto stone himself.
Yep.
So it looks like he's very, very likely going into that 4th TC and an even larger boom like he has before.
Yeah, I just wonder where he places this town center. And I wonder how much he delays his map control. Yo will probably also be thinking 4 TCs, by the way. That 1 on stone now, so he went from 2 to 1. It's just to get the 4th TC timing. But things to think about here, certainly. Also, you are sending a monk out here without Sanctity. The scout can easily kill it. It's like TaToH's waiting.
Oh.
And he is running away now, double-checking another area. Unfortunate for TaToH not to see that.
I was going to say, was positioned perfectly to find the snipe. But repositions, and Yo may have lucked out in that regard. Fervor will be the first of the upgrades for that monk to give him a little bit of extra speed in his quest to pick up those sacred relics and begin the gold generation. 4th TC now dropped at home for TaToH, answering the question of where it would be along one of the wood lines. And now I see possibly a monastery or stables being dropped. It's the stables.
Okay.
It's the stables.
I think there's a world where TaToH can just make so many light cav that they actually beat the Spearman. Because anything else is rather inconvenient to add.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Now, I didn't want to bring this up.
There's not even a barracks yet.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Yo's going to need probably 2 barracks if he's expecting TaToH to go for the commitment that he went for in that game in the group stage. Nice job there from Yo. He's going to get the relic. Did just want to say, I'm very embarrassed by this. I probably shouldn't keep reinforcing this idea, but whatever. My best win rate out of all civilizations in 2022 is actually with Khmer.
I knew it, man. I wasn't.
I looked at the stat, and I got so embarrassed.
No, look, T90, know your strengths, okay? Know your strengths.
Yeah.
And I feel like Khmer is the pick for you.
Yeah.
And the stats support it. All right, 1 relic is home for Mr. Yo. Moving out to find a second one just now, possibly a third, because I actually think he does have one in hand with that southern monk. Yes, on the way home. But there are more scouts onto the field. And here we go, TaToH looking to come over for the snipe. Does get a good redirect onto this first monk, but I also love this play by Yo, just dragging the scout away. Yes, follow me this way so I can get that second one home guaranteed.
Agreed. And you can see how difficult it is to really find the monks. In some world, we could be critical of TaToH, but until now, he didn't have 2 scouts out on the field. And look at this, TaToH with the forward siege workshop. So I think, my line of thinking is immediately shifting to Yo wanting to not go for the forward castle, but instead to just camp at home and go for the heavy Hoofnitsa play later on, and TaToH senses that.
Yeah, and this is far more aggressive placement for those initial buildings than TaToH showed us in the last match. His first castle was fairly defensive, much closer to the walls of his home base, so that he could start to get that mass up. But 2 vills forward to drop the Siege Workshop, and he can start battering away at some of these walls and really put the pressure onto the Bohemians player.
Yo sensing something. He lost his scout. Kind of has an idea that TaToH has that map control and maybe wants to do something with it. And the outpost won't give him vision over that area. You know what's interesting? Vinchester told me that you can see the dead animals, like bears, in the fog of war. And that was a bug that was fixed, because it used to be like that all the time. I'm wondering if that's actually the case, because like right there, we're on Yo's perspective. It shows the bear body. So taking Vinchester's word for it, I believe Yo might notice that and know something's up here, but maybe it might just be a spectator thing. I'm not 100% certain.
That's a good point. Well, if he didn't know before, he knows now.
Yeah,
when he sees those 2 villagers walk clear into his vision to drop an outpost of their own. Looks like he's going to come over and threaten a conversion, but that won't come through with those scouts just behind in support. It will be a Scorpion, has the first unit produced out of the Siege Workshop. Does good work against spears and infantry units, but isn't going to do much to the walls.
Also, I'm going with the source I can trust in the chat. You can see the bear bodies, only the bear bodies. This is why we removed bears from the Rage Forest map. That is from an experienced Black Forest player. I'm not going to pump him up too much because I've known him for a few years and I don't want to, boost his ego. But according to Keller in the chat, it's only bears. Interesting. I didn't know that, actually. That would make sense why I didn't see it at all, because the majority of maps have wolves.
A unique and interesting interaction.
Absolutely.
But it's bears on this map, the deadliest of the animals, as we know from this tournament. Hera being both the highest ranked player in the tournament post-group stage, but the only one to lose a vill to a bear.
That's true.
I just want to draw that distinction. People can do with that information what they will. Castle at home here for Yo. Love that positioning, and Imperial Age on the way for both players. Again, another highlight of Bohemians as a Civ is their ability to get chemistry in Age earlier. So make sure to click that so he'll have it well in time for when he hits the Imperial Age and can immediately start producing bombard cannons out of that Siege Workshop.
I'm not sure, as we see a villager fighting a bear, I'm not sure I'm in love with TaToH's castle position. I do like the Scorpion Ram, because just 2 siege weapons forced Yo to make his castle in his base. I'm sure Yo's comfortable with that, but still. But TaToH's got to be careful. If he wants Ballista Elephants, he needs to make sure his castles stay alive. So I guess it is pretty far away, but we should keep in mind that castle numbers are key here for TaToH.
Yeah, we'll make it harder as well to have a launch point as an attack towards that Bohemian castle. Loses a scout to trade for the monk. Does have husbandry on the way. And Ballista Elephants in the queue, but he's going for a very diverse army composition. We also have archers to support, a few knights as well. So kind of going for one of everything here early on in the Imperial Age.
You know what I really like with some of these civilizations that make elephants is you need to, I think what I've seen in my experience is you almost need to flood the map with some other type of army before the elephants, because the elephants are too expensive and take too much time. But, it is something we should bring up here, that the Khmer don't get thumb ring, and their Arbalest aren't the most impressive unit ever. So TaToH, he's put his castles forward. He's going to try and deny Yo's castle here, but I think Yo's going to complete that. And Yo, he's got help on the way. He's got cannons on the way already here.
Yeah, I was going to say, Pikes will make sure that he does get that castle up at the cost of 1 villager life. We do have Arbalest clicked immediately for TaToH. Wants that ranged unit to pack an initial punch, but like you say, might not be the recipe for success in the long term. And Yo's made it outside his walls. Now looking for that second castle to complete, putting pressure onto the Siege Workshops. Only 4 Ballista Elephants onto the field, so no real threat from them just yet. And crossbows are now seen alongside those archery ranges, I believe, for Mr. Yo.
Now, it is going to make it awkward with the Halbs, but overall, Yo is going to be pretty happy to see Arbalest, because he has faith that he can go for the cannons in combination with his Halbs to push into a composition like that. But, all this talk on the Khmer and how long it takes them, it also takes a long time for the Bohemians to get rolling. And Yo doesn't have Hufnitsa on the way yet. So he's actually investing resources into other things. So both players still pretty far away from their ideal compositions, which gives the Ballista mass time to mass. You can see TaToH doing that alongside the Arbalist.
Yeah, he is close to the resources needed, although invests a little bit more food early on. Oh, what a move here from TaToH. Everybody quiet.
There's also, can he leave, or is that bear blocking his pathing right now?
Yeah, I guess he'd have to kill it, but it looks like he will. He'll make quick work of it. Going to continue making his way through the forest to look for a point of ingress into his opponent's base, but good vision here from Yo means he'll probably see it in time.
That was so sloppy from Yo. You can't lose a bombard cannon there to 5 units. Very sloppy. There you've got a... I call those the food trucks of AoE. The Hussite wagons.
Yeah.
They're doing a little delivery
I'm actually
there.
impressed that TaToH's kept those Ballista Elephants out of vision while continuing to push a path through. Kind of optimizing the amount of time that his opponent will have to respond. And here we go.
Oh, my God.
Those few knights get through, and there's no quick wall behind. This could become absolutely disastrous. TaToH, don't let him quick wall behind it. You need to hold this position long enough to get a few more units in. And still, Yo hasn't recognized.
Look at Yo's face.
Now.
Yo's
Here we go.
Yo's face was like, what? I forgot that was possible.
He pulls the villagers back, but we've got Arbalist Knights and Ballista Elephants in the eco.
Yeah, absolutely. And this could give TaToH time to do some other things. There you see TaToH's kind of pulled some of these halbs over. Yo was planning to get the big push going right here, right now. But now his eco's delayed. And great creativity here from TaToH, using the Ballista Elephants in a way we hadn't thought of.
It's super ingenious, and luckily for Yo, he's got tons of resources in the bank currently to work with, and so isn't going to feel the hurt of those idle villagers too much in its immediacy.
Yep.
And now looking for the cleanup. Bombard cannon, a couple of elite skirmishers, and some halberdiers making their way back to remove this small raiding force from the field, but Knights have forced a lot of idle villagers alongside those farms up in the north. 48 is the idle villager count currently for Yo, really needing to get those back to work. And on the front, as he tries to get a castle up, will manage to do so just before the Arbalists arrive and can deny it. But we have Elite Ballista Elephant completing as we speak, and TaToH might be looking good in yet another Khmer arena game.
Yeah, and Yo he doesn't have the army count right now. And the thing about ballistas is they're so incredibly pop efficient. I think 15 elite ballistas with full upgrades can fight like 40 skirmishers and halbs. They're just so good. As you see TaToH there finally lose his units.
Tech as well.
But there's double crossbow. Oh, there's no way you stop this right now.
No, I mean,
this
is the exact composition that he steamrolled with last time around. And we were wondering if he could make it there. And we were saying it was up to Yo to maybe go earlier to Imp and actually get the pressure on and prevent that composition from being reached. And I have to admit, with 14 of those Ballista Elephants on the field and no threat to the castles just yet, I think he might be building that death ball.
Imagine if TaToH didn't cut through when he did. Yo would be pushing that castle we had first questioned. But, you know, TaToH now is going to see that Yo's finally doing that, but he's going to take a castle for free in the north. Lots of villagers there for Yo on gold. Stone, excuse me, but eventually gold, so he'll be happy to find that. Yo still no Hufnitsa upgrade. 22 halbs, I mean, they're very far from being fully upgraded. Skirmishers far from being fully upgraded. But he's pushing the castles. So if TaToH's really banking on these ballistas, I know he's got plenty of castles elsewhere. Could be some risk.
Yeah, he dropped a 4th castle back closer to his base to make sure that the production can continue. We'll see if he can get this TC down and wrestle control of the northern aspect of the map away from Yo, and then refocus his efforts back down towards the main eco. Did lose a castle throughout all of that, and Mr. Yo now with 7 bombard cannons on the field. That's going to be the real challenge here for TaToH, is how to outmaneuver those bombard cannons with his trebs to keep them alive.
Yeah. Now, we've been talking about it here at the gaming house. Just curious how much damage these ballistas actually take from the cannons, but I think if you've got 7 of them, you should be able to get some pretty solid shots. Still no Hufnitsa upgrade, and one's going to be lost there, which is so costly for Yo. but instead of pushing, it looks like he has to defend right now.
Yeah, sniped by the slow-moving elephants, but a few of those bombard cannons make it to the north. Already sniping one Treb, two in a double whammy, up to 3, and the 4th one goes down, keeping the castle at home alive. Then deletes the wall to get his bombard cannons back to safety. What a beautiful move out of Mr. Yo.
Yeah, and initially I was thinking if you just react here, you'll eventually lose, but that was the correct response. He would have lost his castle.
Halb's getting shredded, though. We'll see if they can finally make contact. Like you said, they do have that nice bonus against the Ballista Elephants, but boom, just like that, they'll manage to get 2 kills before they all fall. And once again, we've broken through the wood line there in the back, too, so he could even wreak more havoc on the eco.
Yeah, and it allows you to do tiny little things like this, right? Because Yo's distracted, so TaToH almost took the Treb out with 2 light cav. And we've got a defensive castle for Yo. He's placing a castle in the middle of his own freaking base, in the middle of his farms, because he can't stop this otherwise.
I respect the decision, though. He understands that he can't really prevent TaToH from continuing to find ways into his base, so he's just going to get the castle up to protect all of those farmers and make it a little bit more difficult for any damage to come through. Through all of that, TaToH now transitioning onto Hussars and finding the rest of the upgrades for that cavalry unit. Those will be effective at least against the skirms and possibly sniping some of the Hufnitze, because that upgrade is on the way. 1 minute and 10 seconds here for Yo.
Yeah, and if Yo gets one solid push with the Hufnitze combined with Trash, that is possible. But TaToH's got the Trebs already here, looking to push down more castles from Yo. There he'll drop one of his own to keep Yo off the golds. And these ballistas, again, they're just extremely pop efficient. They will probably die eventually, but just think of all the focus that Yo has had to put here. And you see that shot? That's 6 bomber cannons, but because bomber cannons always hit in the same spot, they're so much less effective than the Hufnitze, because the Hufnitze have a little bit more splash. TaToH actually able to get away there. It's crazy. He ran in with 20 units, did a ton of damage and forced a castle, and now he's out of there.
Yeah, beautiful kiting, beautiful control. Now he's got Hussar mass as well that he can possibly spam into the eco of his opponent, and he still kind of has a 2-pronged approach here. Right? Units in the north looking for big snipes onto the Hufnitze right as they upgrade in that moment. Can he loop these Hussars through? He does get them past the Halberdiers, and he's looking for the kills. This is 5 exposed Hufnitze in this moment, and it looks like they might all go down. Absolute disaster here for Mr. Yo.
Yeah, and Yo, I mean, he shook his head earlier when the ballistas cut through. Now he's probably thinking, what on earth can I do to stop this? I thought Bohemians were amazing on Arena, perfectly timed from TaToH, perfectly executed. I think we're just seconds away from the GG call.
Yeah, and in the end, this is where you needed the Hufnitze, right, to stop this push from the Trebs and more Ballista Elephants coming forward. It's going to be an attempt at more production buildings just behind for Yo to get some spam up and maybe push this back. But it is looking ugly at the moment as TaToH's Trebs continue to work away on these fortified positions.
Yep. This is crazy, man. Like, this best of 7 is going to be so fun. Yo won with the Civilization in Game 1. That only looks unbeatable when he's playing it on that map. And Khmer have only looked unbeatable when TaToH's playing it on this map. Right? Like, it's not like this is a trend amongst all of our pros here. It's very much just these players. So this has been awesome. Yo, obviously a big fighter, and maybe, just maybe, the Hufnitze could end up carrying him, but it's just not looking good.
Yeah, fight as you may, but another castle goes down, and the position continues to improve here for TaToH. Now look at the mass. We've got 30 Ballista Elephants on the field, fully upgraded, with Hussars as a meat shield in front. The Trebs continue to roll forward, and it looks like for Mr. Yo, he's about to tap out. There it is. We're 1-1, T90.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, here's the thing. Here's Mr. Critical Caster for you. We knew TaToH was going to go for ballistas. We've seen it dominate. Why did Yo sit behind his walls, right? I think for TaToH, he kind of scared him a little bit with the forward workshop. Yo lost his scout. He was thinking, oh, no, this is going to be a Castle Age push. Really would have liked to see Yo try to end the game before ballistas were possible, 2 or 3 barrack pikemen to take the map control, and a forward castle. But at the same time, when you've got those crazy Hufnitze bombard cannons, sometimes you fall into the trap of just waiting for that, and TaToH punished it perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, again, hindsight 2020 and the privilege of being in these chairs, right, is we can be that critical. It's tough to make the call in the moment. as the players themselves. And without full scouting information, right, you might yourself be second-guessing whether or not TaToH really is going for the same strategy. You know, maybe he's playing against the idea that I've ingrained my strategy in your head, and I'm going to, in fact, go for something else. But called on all of his shots all the way through. Fabulous cut as well. For TaToH, both in the south
was so good.
and the north.
That was so fun, man.
Honestly, the amount of time that he delayed, the number of villagers that he forced to go idle, the fact that he forced another castle up in the back of the base, right? He just made the position that much worse for Mr. Yo and harder to handle. And I think it was very well executed from TaToH here in map number 2, keeping us evened up in the series. And now the onus is on Mr. Yo to make the next map choice.
This is going to be an amazing series. I genuinely think this is going to go to 7 games. These guys are so good.
I'll just say that I love that Enclosed is in the map pool and that it was Mr. Yo who opted into it.
Well, on
right?
the bright side, he doesn't have Bohemians anymore.
Yeah, but that is true. He doesn't have the Civ choice that he played that 2 hour and 50. But after being in the 2 hour and 15-minute game on that map choice, you're the one who says, sure, I'll run that back.
Well, you know, he probably watched the entire game in great detail and realized what he did wrong.
Heavy plow.
Yeah, heavy plow. And then that game goes on for another 40 minutes,
Yeah.
and then he still loses. Well, Golden Swamp and Rocky Forest are TaToH's home maps. Yo could choose them. Most likely we'll go for Enclosed, Moras, or Kawasan. I know Yo loves the Magyars. He looked very comfortable against Nicov the other day on Moras, so I could see him going for that map here and going
what's
for
the response
Magyars.
there? Is it just Franks in response, and you try and go, like, you just try and go scouts into scouts, and, yeah, I have to get my attack upgrade?
Well, here's the answer. I was going to say, for what it's worth, you probably don't believe me. I think TaToH would go for Dravidians.
Okay.
And we have seen the Dravidians struggle. I don't think their win rate is impressive.
It's
I know
terrible.
Stats Guy is going to be going
ham.
ham right now, getting the Dravidian stats for us. But the reason Dravidians are played is due to the fact that they have a lot of early bonuses, and it's a 9-villager start on a lot of aggressive maps. So we're seeing the cheaper infantry upgrades be important. You can see some of the other bonuses here for the Dravidians. And it's that plus 200 wood. No, it doesn't seem like a lot in what could be a long game. That can make a difference early. So I'm expecting man-at-arms, archers, and spearmen from TaToH.
As well, the fishermen bringing back 15 extra food every time. And since most of your food eco on this map does revolve around those shorefish, that will help you out quite a bit. Skirmishers firing faster as well. Just makes it an easy unit to kind of, you know, tuck into any composition for yourself. And so definitely still has plenty of positives to the Civ. However, the win rate hasn't quite been there for the Dravidians in this tournament, whereas for the Magyars, particularly on this map, ultra effective because of their ability to wreak havoc on the eco and how spread out your opponent's villagers can be. Free forging, iron casting, and blast furnace upon reaching the next age. Also, your scout cavalry are that much cheaper, which means you can flood the map with them.
And normally I'd say don't worry about the unique text. This map is very aggressive and will end quickly, so you know, don't get excited about it. But Yo was one of the only players to play Magyars. He did it against Nicov, and he won with Magyars with recurve bow in and Corvinian army as well. The late game is abysmal for the Dravidians.
Yeah.
Like they get elephants, but they somehow lack a bunch of blacksmith upgrades, and the unique techs are kind of
honestly, like, it's
just
almost not
great.
even worth building a stable, as the Dravidians.
Yeah.
It just never feels worth it.
Exactly. So the late game's just bad for Dravidians compared to Magyars.
Don't let it get there.
And then Magyars have one of the best late games. So Yo is going to be looking to delay. He did some creative things here, Dash. While we see all the fish in the middle, which will be the initial focus, Yo talked to me about it, and Yo showed in his games he is very comfortable taking the outer food as well if he gets pushed out there. So if you look in those corners or on those sides, there's also fish there. TaToH Scout is going to have to be very active.
Yeah, and active already, right? Finds the fisherman for his opponent, and will look to drop a barracks. Feudal Age on the way for both players there, and it'll actually be Yo who gets there first, however, with one less villager to play with. Will be no surprise when he goes for that early stable and gets the scouts out onto the map.
So we seem to have the same outlook on the matchup. What game time does this become a problem here for Dravidians?
Without any damage, like at an even game state?
Yeah, even game state. What time in this game should people start to worry?
20 minutes. If TaToH doesn't have an advantage, it's over.
Okay.
20 minutes game time.
Yeah, I think that's realistic.
Yeah, I think he really has to get something done here early, and I believe he thinks so as well. We have Militia in production, and given the proximity of the players and the fact that they both went to the bottom side for Shorefish, we do have this Militia coming forward early to look for some damage and harassment.
Yo scouted everything super late. He didn't actually see the barracks. If we can just get a quick pan to the right, he didn't see the mill, didn't see the barracks, so he is blind to the fact that TaToH's right next to him. Now he's going to see the Militia. And what Yo did in the past was he pre-walled.
That's a good point.
But he pre-walled because he had that scouting. So important that Yo does that right now as he's trying to go for these scouts. And TaToH's coming forward with what will soon be man-at-arms.
And it looks like he agrees with you, going for those walls as we speak. Palisades up already, and the stable already up. So scouts in the queue for Mr. Yo.
Yo loses his initial scout, which does hurt. And TaToH's going to be looking for value here. He's kind of got 2 1/10 of a Militia, and now it's man-at-arms. Decent start here for Yo considering the circumstances, but still don't want to be losing villagers.
Yeah, solid harassment, though, as well for TaToH now with these man-at-arms. A spear will chase that scout away, and Yo's going to have to look for some numbers before he can truly take this fight, unless he wants to pull Vils as well.
Okay, interesting little stats there. Dragged down Vidians. That is on par with some of my worst jokes there, production. Well played, though, as we have the Spearman now meeting up with the man-at-arms. And Yo is going to probably just wall off everything towards this town center here. Now, sometimes players aren't too scared of the town center fire because there's not a lot of villagers underneath the TC. So TaToH's actually just going to take the house, which is kind of funny. And TaToH still looking for damage. Yo still looking to mass scouts as he fights the Spearman off.
Yeah, very, very bold, but will get the kill without losing any of those scout lives. 2, though, quite low health. Villagers being pulled for the fight, and they find a kill against the man-at-arms. 1 more spear, though, in that pack does find a nice kill, keeping the scout numbers low, which is very important. Yo now thinking better of the defense because he's got the walls up against the melee units, and he's going forward looking for damage.
Oh, but he's going to get poked a bunch here. Oh, man. Spearman there. And TaToH with the quick houses. It's going to lead to a scout kill. There's out only 1.5 scouts there for Yo. And TaToH, if I'm not wrong, research supplies. So now his infantry units or his militia line costs less food. He's going all in.
Beautiful redirect. Already 6 man-at-arms on the field, a 7th in the queue, along with 4 spears, and against just a stable unit for his opponent. They're going to be looking for a lot of damage against those walls. You could just threaten all of the production.
Yep. I think Yo might genuinely need to consider a tower soon. And also, I would prefer to see TaToH attack the stable.
Same.
Because it's more important. But
there's the tower you wanted.
I take it back because the house is going down so quickly that Yo realizes this and is now stonewalling behind. That would not have happened with the stable. Great awareness from TaToH to realize this. Yo still hasn't lost villagers, though. And again, it's like that 20-minute mark. If it's even, that's when the Magyar option just seen a bit stronger.
Yeah, Yo looking to pick off the reinforcements, and will do just that without losing a single scout on the front. The tower does go up to force some of that pressure away, but villagers now under threat here around the Shorefish. Taking the fight is TaToH. 1 does go down, and 2 scouts will get away to see another day.
That's actually not the worst for TaToH, because those 2 scouts are unlikely to get more damage. So he got a lot of hits in with his villagers there. Look at Yo, though. Just stonewalling. He's gonna play full fat slob here, as we call it, and just try his best to keep this investment out from TaToH. And TaToH's still producing more man-at-arms.
Yeah, 2nd stable up, more man-at-arms in the queue. Yo looking for damage with those scouts, but not finding too much just yet. Forging as well for Yo, so even more damage will come through. Really trying to bust through these walls. And wow, that's bold deletes out of Yo on the palisade walls, as opposed to just walling behind. But he does complete the stone walls. And I think he's feeling pretty good about his position here, T90.
Yeah, now, what he did against Nicov, funnily enough, went for a lot of man-at-arms and spearmen. So it was actually very similar as he went walls into towers, and then eventually just tried to go Castle Age here. Love this from TaToH, though. You have now seen, after 2 or 3 attempts, you're not going to break through the houses. There would just be stone walls behind. So at the very least, take out a stable, which is a production building that Yo's using to try and counterattack against you.
Yeah, you got to make something of all of this investment into man-at-arms. And here we have 5 Magyar scouts looking for a fight against 3 men-at-arms. Thinks better of it. And the pressure will be stopped for just a moment here against that stable. A little bit of repair time and idle villager time invested to keep that up. finishing up the stone walls as well. Means that there's no real threat of any more damage coming through. And now I'm taking a look at resources to see who might be on the way to the Castle Age anytime soon. For TaToH, he's on to gold, but doesn't quite have the food count.
Oof.
And this is big damage coming through because now the scout numbers are getting to a scary point.
Yeah, the spearman numbers are high enough for TaToH to take good fights, but Yo found an opportunity there where a couple units were on their own. Is TaToH going to trap here? No,
utilize the mobility well enough, and he might still find some villager kills, and this can start to get real ugly real fast here for TaToH. 2 villagers go down, and yes, the spearmen arrive, but it's easy enough to just send the scouts away.
Look at TaToH.
Oh, did he make it in? He made it in!
Okay.
Oh my goodness, while all of that was happening, he didn't have the vision of his base or the timing to react to that, and just like that, the men-at-arms are in. They threaten the base of the tower, and this could be absolutely deadly.
It's so awkward, right? Like, you don't have the stone for the tower just yet. Yo's trying to use the tower fire against some of the infantry here, and he's using the vills. This is actually worth it for Yo because he will clean up the army eventually here. TaToH, he feels desperate to kill villagers. Yeah. Let's see how many villagers he kills here. Looks like it's been 4 so far, but he will lose his entire army to this.
Yeah, 4 villagers for the cost of about 10 military.
But
quite significant.
10 military that wasn't doing anything anyways, right? Like, that military would not have found a ton of value. I think TaToH is very fortunate that he got through there at that time.
Not only that, but Vodka just pointed out to us the resources here for TaToH. He's going to use that forward pressure that he was able to mount to have bought himself the time to click up to the Castle Age. Another engagement here under the tower that's trying to go up. An extra villager kill will be found to make it 5-3 in the Eco KD.
Wow.
Perhaps TaToH's bought himself some life
Seriously.
in this game. Still producing man-at-arms, by the way.
Wow. I mean,
11 spears.
And he's continuing the production, but if you look at the shorefish situation, Yo was pulled off of food that entire sequence, and TaToH has like 3 or 4 mills on these shorefish. TaToH's going to go up to the Castle Age with the Dravidians. And longsword is cheaper, arson is cheaper, all the barracks technologies are cheaper. We might see pikeman, longsword, arson. Those buildings are not going to last long.
Right? I think the pressure has to continue because we said it that as the game continues to scale, your tech options become worse and worse as compared to the Magyars.
Yes.
You also have to avoid taking any damage here from these scouts before you make it to the Castle Age. But with a few units in defense, 3 spears, even finding a snipe onto those scouts and pushing them away, TaToH's navigating this pretty beautifully.
I think Yo, his whole plan fell out the window when those units got in, because if he expected to have to fight against those units, he would have gone archers earlier. Now he's going for the archers, but the food count's really a struggle for him as he has collected 1,200 fewer resources, and TaToH's just got infantry crawling everywhere. Dash, you called it, though. TaToH sold his stone. He's not going to try and boom. He's going to go for it. Siege Workshop would make sense to me, but I don't know what you would call it, but there's a part of me that just says skip the siege because I want to see how fast everything dies to the longsword, right? We rarely see that at a high level.
Yeah, well, and actually because of the way that this map kind of gets laid out, right, with the TC being isolated up on this hill, you don't really have to target. You target everything else, right? And it's a lot harder to play that or mount that defense, even without your opponent having to go into mangonels. It's 2 barracks production currently for the Dravidians player. Okay, Magyar scouts will find a kill and get out. 1 goes down, though, so the numbers continue to dwindle here.
Wow, Yo's still not up. It's just crazy. He still hasn't clicked up. I can't tell what he's killing there. Looks like he's attacking villagers. Might end up killing this one, but TaToH, let's see, longsword, armor, squires. So he's got the speed. He's upgrading his units in defense and also in unit type. But you've got to go arson here, TaToH. That helps you destroy buildings so much faster.
Yeah, only 2 scouts in the back of his eco as well. Doesn't have to worry about these too much. Okay, does lose 1 Vill on the gold as he tries to take the fight. Unit control, though, and the pathing kind of awkward. Might even lose another.
Oh.
Will he get the doink? He does. Doink. Actually, amazing value out of 2 remaining scouts to find 2 villager kills there.
Great recovery. Now let's see if Yo can defend this because he still hasn't clicked up to the Castle Age, and that's a lot of units, and arson's on the way. These buildings are not going to last very long. Longsword, pikeman. What is this game from TaToH? I mean, TaToH says, forget about the Bulgarians or the Japanese or the Vikings, any of these infantry civs. I want the Dravidians. And look at him push.
I absolutely love it. It's the full infantry play here, and there's only 4 archers at the moment in defense for Yo, and the towers are placed too far apart to defend each other. Does force another one up here, so this might buy him a little bit of breathing room, but he's still locked into the feudal age.
Yep, and his food income is here. So something that is pretty rare is it's okay to idle that many villagers, because then your opponent won't click up the Castle Age on time. So, well done from TaToH. Finds a couple more picks here as his units are slowly dying. And I think TaToH will be very happy with the current situation, but he will also feel pressure to make sure he finishes Yo. Yo's not finished yet.
Yeah, good kiting from Mr. Yo to remove some of those numbers from the field, and he does have a small villager lead. But like we say, so much idle time forced out there means that the res that TaToH's been able to bank up over the course of the game is far superior. Even feels permission now to drop a second TC with the damage that he's done and maybe just extend his eco lead a little bit more.
There's not a lot of pikemen for TaToH. Nice little wall there from Yo. So if it's just longswords and then Yo's able to have some archers with Magyar Knights with all the attack, I could see 4 knights, 10 crossbowmen stopping everything from TaToH. This is, again, we've seen why you pick Dravidians, but now we're starting to worry about why the Dravidian win rate is so low here.
Yeah, I'm very worried, especially when I see a 3rd TC dropped. In all honesty, I feel like that should be a Siege Workshop. I feel like this is how you're giving Yo a way back into the game. Definitely still advantage for TaToH.
Take the stable, though, right? Like, if he takes the stable without the Siege Workshop, I'm a big fan. If he doesn't take out those stables, he's going to have problems.
Yeah, but look at this. Feudal Age archers are dealing with the longswords slowly but surely.
Yep.
And getting those mass up will get the stable down. But the question is, did he do the math?
Well, he's got Yo's trying to do the math here because Yo's brought more repair villagers. That is going down so fast, and Yo has to quickly house wall. And not house wall, excuse me, stone wall. And he does still keep himself safe.
Yeah, Stonewall's up. Bloodlines also did complete, so was able to repair it just long enough to get the Bloodlines tech through. TaToH's going to transition some of his pressure onto those house walls, and there's the Siege Workshop that we wanted to see. So it'll be 3 TCs and Siege Push along with that infantry. There's a hole in the wall again, Tristan.
But TaToH shouldn't run through it. I could be wrong, but I think that this is actually horrible for him currently, and he's beginning to sweat at the moment and think, oh no. What do I do? He's got archers, he's got knights. And TaToH's going to wait for the siege, though. Mangonel, obviously a huge help. But with the 3 TCs creating all these villagers, it's still a question of, for what, right? What's your army composition? Another thing Dravidians could try, they have the faster firing skirms. They have really solid archer line, so you could maybe consider that now if you're TaToH.
Yeah, definitely, and you might have the food eco to support it, right? Because you have control of so much of the shorefish.
Yeah.
The placement of those 2 TCs. Yo, completely unaware of that one in the north, might find it with those archers. Is dropping a 2nd town center for himself, way in the back of his own base, and did get a Siege Workshop up at home, but hasn't gotten a Mangonel in the queue just yet.
Yep.
So won't be able to look for any of those Mangonel snipes over the wall as of yet. This gold about to be threatened here from Mr. Yo. Looks to pull the villagers as the Mango comes forward. Won't find a target. Fire, and no vills will go down.
Oh, God. TaToH, this is the problem. Your entire eco is set up on shorefish, and they eventually just move, away from that town center. And now Yo comes in with the Magyar Knights, and he's going to pick off the siege. So well played from Yo to get himself out of this hole.
Yeah, 4 Vill picks on one side while he snipes the Mango on the other with just the 2 Knights and not even losing a single one. Now he'll just roll these crossbows through, but great walling once again by TaToH. Pens them in against the town center. Will find a couple of kills, but loses 2 villagers more in the process. Yo continues to wrap around looking for kills onto the fishermen. And might be able to.
Oh, that could be a big shot here for Yo. Oh, this would be a huge shot. TaToH's probably distracted from that army. Oh, man, TaToH, pay attention. He sees it. And there he is, abandoning those what's left of the shorefish where he initially started. 63 villagers for TaToH. 30 army. Yo is doing so much with so little.
Yeah, 30 army, 25 of which are longswords. But again, they can't get through the walls at the moment. And we did see fletching come in, so I think that TaToH might be considering that switch into range units that you were talking about. or at the very least just to make sure the TCs can provide a bit more cover against the raids from the Magyar player. Look at the damage and the kiting, though, that Yo's getting from just these 5 crossbows.
I know, it's so good.
It's absolutely wild.
But it's also why longswords are kind of meh. Yeah. You know, it's like, okay, I kind of get it now. You got 30 army that can't push at all against a Mangonel, a couple knights, and some crossbowmen. I love that TC from Yo, though, because it not only takes precious map control, but it actually is needed as well for his own villagers to take shorefish. Yo does make a mistake there, though. He's down to 1 crossbow. How many longswords is chasing 1 crossbow? they're separating themselves from the pack now, but that is hilarious.
Hey, man, the City Watch takes their job very seriously, okay? It was an unruly group of crossbows that needed to be reined in. He'll go ahead and siphon off a good number of them, though, to bring back towards the front and try and repressure towards Yo's base. Just now seeing that TC and the castle placement out of Mr. Yo. Wants to buy himself more control over those shorefish and put some pressure onto TaToH. Yes, we see the Mangonel coming forward. The question is, will it arrive in time to get any damage in or stop the castle from going up? Gets rerouted back, so unfortunately, I don't think it will have an opportunity to stop that castle. And the Cav Archer production has begun here.
Yo,
Magyar player.
Yo is so good. I'm repeating myself here, but he's so good at doing a lot with the little. It's been very impressive. He's got double range or triple range, I guess it'll be, for Cav Archers. He's got a castle protecting the north. He's got stone walls protecting the south.
Ooh, 32-minute double bid-X as well.
It hurts. Not quite as bad when you're not farming, right? So TaToH's going to try and sort this out, but someone in chat just said this can't be the whole plan, right? No, it absolutely is. Like, all these builds that have been practiced with the Dravidians are to win the game by a certain point. And we have seen a lot of instances, because we have the best players in the world here who are able to just delay their death. We've seen a lot of instances where the stronger options in the late game can somehow turn it around and beat the Dravidians.
Yeah, but how often do you find yourself in a game where there's 33 military on one side and 9 on the other, and you feel like the guy with 9 has the more potent force?
Yep. It's not common, Dash. It's not common at all. TaToH running around now, trying to find more res. And he's enjoying the sight of that, I'm sure, because his villagers are currently working all the time. Couple knights just loop in. Not the first time Yo's run underneath the town center like a maniac. And I think Yo just killed a monk there with his Cav Archers, is just trying to bring the Knights and the Cav Archers together so the Knights could take out the siege that TaToH has running around his base.
Yeah, slowly getting the mass up of the Cav Archers. Nice target fire to find some damage, but no kills. And the Knights aren't able to run around those long swords and find the snipe onto the Mangonels. Might come over here and deal with the Scorpion at the very least. And then we have a Magyar Hussar. Great damage against siege units, but won't get the final poke to get it all down. A few villagers will pay for this TC going up with their lives, but once again, TaToH has found himself a little bit of safety underneath that TC. Okay, sniped by a singular Cav Archer.
I love the presence of mind there for Yo to realize that that probably wasn't repaired. Very impressive job from him, as he's up to 80 villagers. Resources collected, he's still behind, but look at the resources destroyed. Yo has destroyed so many more resources here. As again, he's on Cav Archer. And TaToH not really in a position to counter that easily. TaToH will lose a monk, will get a conversion, but the longsword numbers are down. He's just got a couple Scorpions now, and I'm terrified for TaToH.
I'm absolutely terrified. Ballistics as well is going to make those Cav Archers so much more deadly when they find their way in towards some villagers who are out here looking for the shorefish. That's going to be a couple more picks there for Yo. He'll feel good about that. Now 17 on the field.
Ballistics is on the way. I mean, TaToH's food count's really nice. If TaToH could click up to Imp here and use all of his skirmishers, I'm sure it could be amazing. And there's the infantry looking for options for damage. The choke point's not exactly helping them. The Scorpion goes down and the infantry runs away. And Yo just continues to force the issue here.
Yeah, near impossible position it now feels like for TaToH. And the answer just seems to be more TCs. More TCs. There's a fifth one now and still a villager lead. However, only 10 at this point.
Yep.
Total pops for both players very close as well. And at this point, I don't feel like we've been back to Yo's side of the map in quite some time. Yep. He's feeling very, very good about his eco. and maybe his ability to go up to the Imperial Age. Good food count for TaToH. Not enough gold quite yet.
Yeah, TaToH is going to be going for Elite Skirm now. And Dravidian Elite Skirms are really strong. And also, it's kind of awkward for Yo to move around. There's a lot of blue to the north of him now, his own walls to the west. So Yo's going to see this, but that's kind of something you like to see when you're the Magyars, because the other thing the Magyars are good at is making knights, which is a counter to skirms. So Yo splits up his cav archers. Look how many different groups he has. He's got the group in the front. He's got the group in the back. Clearly needed to look in the group in the front. And
look at the KD.
Yeah, the KD's insane, and he could just switch directly into stable units if he needs to.
It's such a good transition to make. As soon as those first Elite Skirms come out onto the map, really any cav unit for the Magyars out of the stable will feel good. And here we go, once again, finding more Vil picks on the back wood line, continuing to harass the eco of TaToH. A few Elite Skirmishers onto the field finally, and look at how quick they fire. That will make them quite effective against the range units that Yo has on the field, and maybe too many groups to micro at one moment. Loses good numbers here at the back of TaToH's base.
Yep. Now Yo isn't rushing Imp at all. He's just spamming army nonstop. TaToH's desperate to stabilize, still has collected more resources in the game, but imagine how dizzy TaToH must be at the moment. Let's actually try Yo's point of view here. So Yo's blue on his screen. Apologies for the confusion there. But look at all the different areas he's looking at here. Look at his unit queue at the top left. So he's got villagers, cav archers, mangonels now as well. And this is the micro from Yo. And the thing is, Yo's not actually the fastest player ever. But he's always in the right positions, it feels like, with his forces. And TaToH has slow responses to this.
Yeah, nearly every click is an effective click, right?
Absolutely.
And that's what matters when it comes to your APM are the actions that you're actually performing useful. And in the majority of cases, Yo has such a good understanding of the flow of the game and where he needs to put his attention at any given moment. And just like that, both players find themselves on the way to the Imperial Age in nearly the same timing.
Ooh,
those
skirms
numbers are climbing. And they have to be careful, though, of the mangonel over the wood line. Does dodge the shot. And Yo looks to just kind of remass his forces together. I think we're going to have a bit of a stalemate for the next 2 minutes until either player reaches the next stage.
Yo needs to sense that the skirm switch is heavy. He needs to realize this. He also needs to realize ballistics is in for TaToH. Hello, longswords.
Ooh.
Where did they come from?
Yeah, how did they get there without being noticed?
Okay, well now they've been noticed.
And then they do get noticed before any damage comes through. So all for naught. But a big engagement here on the right-hand side. A few of those infantry units trying to chase down the mangonel, and I think they will get the snipe, yes, before the cav archers make quick work of them.
Did Yo get Corvinian army? Did we catch that? I don't think we saw it. And this is an awful fight for Yo.
This is horrible.
Yeah, awful fight. I think he was distracted by the tourists that were in his base. Yo really trying to force the issue with castles. It's a very Yo thing, but he has 14 cav archers. He doesn't have full armor for his cav yet. To me, it feels like a perfect opportunity for Yo with 1,300 wood to drop like 5 or 6 stables, get light cav, and start to spam that. But he is opting for the Magyar Hussar, which looks way cooler and is the stronger unit in the long run. But it is a little bit more difficult to mass.
Yeah, Vils arrived to start building the castle now. TaToH, not too many military units there to defend and prevent it from going up. So that's a good look for Yo. But as you mentioned, Tristan, only 4 Magyar Hussar and 16 cav archers on the field. So the military numbers are quite low at the moment. He's not going to pack a very big punch here early on in the Imperial Age. And TaToH will match the castle in the west with a castle in the east.
Yep. I want to see TaToH prove us wrong here, and I want to see full trash maybe. Like the faster firing skirms are getting upgrades. Maybe go for some halb as well, and try and push all this back. Yo is certainly giving him a little bit of time because Yo believes that at this stage of the game, the Magyars should never lose.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's playing fairly conservatively for that reason. Castle did go up. Mangonel putting some pressure onto that TC for TaToH. Also going for the stone walls in the north here from Yo, just making sure that he can control where the fights happen on the map. I'm going to funnel you towards my castles and make sure that I get to choose when and where the fights get taken.
Yep, recurve bow still isn't in. That'll give the cav archers +1 attack and +1 range as if they need that. And, oh, I bet you can't stonewall there. There must be something. Is there like a little bit of blue there, like some water terrain?
And you definitely can't stonewall there if the military removes your villagers.
Yeah, that's interesting. So Yo, hoping to just wall that off, is going to find out the hard way it's not walled. And now as he's distracted, he's got to get out of here.
Okay, TaToH finding some very good fights here early on in the Imperial Age, keeping the numbers low for Mr. Yo, and still no cavalry units.
And
it's all range all the time.
Shot
my
on
God,
the
it was
skirmishers.
massive.
And you want to take the skirms as well. You don't care about the longswords anymore. You can take the longswords. Well played there from Yo. And Yo's getting recurve bow, getting the armor for his cav so he could spam them. But only 22 cav archers. Again, TaToH's given himself a chance. He's had a much larger army for some time.
Yeah, giving himself a chance, but what a great find from Mr. Yo with those mangonel shots. What could have been a deadly raiding force, or at least bought TaToH a lot of time, is no longer available to him. Still holding that wall, though.
Yep.
Still a hole in that wall, and that's something that we're going to want to track throughout the game. But Treb's working away, and bombard cannons in response for TaToH means that he'll get the snipe for the time being.
Yeah, I will say this, man. Yo has been really slow with his opening, and he's opting for the Magyar Hussar, which have a bonus against Siege. He's even getting Elite now. He got Corvinian army, so they only cost food. But if he loses his castles before he's able to, combat this, he might not be able to get any Hussars out. A lot of players, like Hera, for example, who's one of the players that has a bye to the semifinal, he probably wouldn't go for the Magyar Hussar. He'd probably just have 6 stables because you have cheaper stable units as the Magyars, and regular Hussar would do just fine. I'm concerned for Yo right now. I have not seen the control really be capitalized on, and TaToH's eco is actually insane right now. He's got 30 on gold, 30 on food, defensive castles, lots of production buildings.
Yeah, he's going to have to keep this castle alive for quite some time before bombard cannons working away on it. And he keeps chucking in low numbers of these Magyar Hussars. Yes, they're great against Siege and might be able, not even going to find one snipe there, as we do have one really low health bombard cannon now being repaired by villagers. He just can't get the numbers up, unfortunately, and the castle does go down. Only 3 remaining to work with.
Wow, and TaToH's going to push here. And Yo's getting heavy cav archer. He's going to try and raid that right-hand side. TaToH has 1 castle there. He's hoping that he can just avoid dealing with any attacks on this side by placing what is currently a very risky castle. But the reason for that is so he can push. So let's see. TaToH's going to make his move. Yo's coming in. There's no way that castle goes up.
Scary moment, and TaToH's going to go for the delete and the reposition much closer to a TC. I think that's a wise
move,
decision.
you dumb villagers!
But good snipes so far from the Magyars.
What are they? Oh, okay.
And unfortunately, yeah, the build hadn't started until just now, but he is committing about 30 villagers to this castle going up. 3 mangonels. Will they find some good hits? I think this castle goes up no matter what. It's just a question of the cost.
Yeah, it's worth it, though. It's worth it, and hopefully it doesn't get trepped down soon. Oh, I don't know if it's worth it, actually. That was maybe the definition of not worth it, but
he's down below 100 vills.
This means TaToH's push has to be working, though. If Yo is engaging against this push and holding, where are the cannons?
No, that may have been a massive
Where are the cannons? Yo killed the cannons,
with
too?
With all of the focus on the castle. You're right. I think he lost the cannons. That was massive for Mr. Yo. He has complete control over this game in the moment. No food in the bank for TaToH, and only 95 villagers total. 74 to 15 is the Eco KD. And just like that, the Magyar Hussar production is underway. 15 now on the field with 40 cav archers behind it. It could have been the tides turning in that moment.
Yep, that was the window for TaToH. It looked like he had brought himself another chance in this game. Yo, with 3K golds, is living the dream right now. He's probably hoping that, he probably knows he's going to win this game. He's probably hoping TaToH plays on for another 30 minutes just so he can enjoy this comp. I know I would. I feel like I never get to this comp with the Magyars.
Yeah, recurve.
It's so satisfying.
Bow, get you heavy cav archers is just the best feeling ever.
Yep. Plus the Magyar Hussar. The coolest of all the Hussars, I would say. The winged Hussars would maybe have a disagreement. But 60 army for TaToH. He needs to use what gold he has to probably make bombard cannons or some form of siege again to push these castles, because otherwise he's just going to be reacting nonstop to the raids.
Yeah, 53 minutes into the game, the fact that TaToH is no longer mounting a push forward on either side of the map is definitely not the position he wanted to find himself in. We've got a couple of elephant archers on the field. They are very strong in mass, but also very slow. And this is a highly mobile composition for Mr. Yo as the Magyars. So he really has the option to dictate all of the fights.
Yep. And I think something that would help Yo that he doesn't need would be Onager here. I think 1 or 2 Onagers are extremely pop efficient. The Halbs and the Skirmishers all group up, and an Onager shot could kill 30 or 40 units at the same time. But again, does Yo need it? I don't think so. He swings over here with the Trebs, takes out the castle, and Yo living the dream. TaToH probably a bit frustrated because he did do a lot of damage in Feudal Age. He was faster to Castle Age first, but it's just the weakness of the civilization past a certain point.
Yeah, final remaining castle goes down for TaToH. That was defending that right-hand side. Skirmishers taking a decent trade against the Cav Archers, but also getting melted by the Magyar Hussar here. Just gets himself back up to 100 villagers now, so looking to play on for a little bit longer. Unfortunately, at the moment, doesn't really look like he has too many options.
Yep, you're exactly right. Yo's just going to take these trades, even though he'll lose some expensive gold units because he has the golden bank. And Yo's just, forget Magyar Hussar that don't cost gold. If I have 4K gold, we might as well tech Paladin. So he's going for Cavalier now, and I think he will click Paladin afterwards.
And Treadmill Crane to boot. But at this point, he can afford to get really any tech he wants and keep rolling forward. The military numbers look good, up at 53 and nearly pop-capped overall.
Yep.
For TaToH, just scraping 130 out of 200, and there it is. The GG's called. It was a valiant effort, I will say that, for the Dravidians, and one of their best looks, even still in a loss for me. But again, we see the reality of that civilization. If you don't get it done early, pretty much doomed to defeat.
It was 35 army versus 8 for a significant portion of the early Castle Age.
Yeah.
But the type of army is very difficult to push against walls, which is very wise from Yo. He didn't hesitate at all to go to stone. Some players will. And, you know, Cav Archers and Knights there. And, you know, it's a sad one for TaToH because that whole build was designed to win against a very good civilization. Dravidians is an early pick. So it's not just losing that game, it's losing with an early pick that could have an effect for later on in this best of 7.
Yeah, that one might be one you're rethinking or replaying in your head for quite some time if the series doesn't end up going your way. And at the moment, you find yourself down 1 map to 2 in the overall best of 7, but you do have map select on your side for the 4th game in the series. Golden Swamp, Rocky Forest, the remaining home maps for TaToH, also has enclosed in Kawasan as options as well if he opts for them.
And I think for TaToH, you just stick to your game plan from here. Know that you're going to have much better game plan going into this next game. But I love Franks on Rocky Forest for TaToH. I love Malay or Britons or Vikings on Golden Swamp. I love Chinese on Enclosed. And then I love, well, actually, come to think of it, probably Malay for TaToH on Kawasan. That's the way I think the rest of the series shapes up.
Yeah, I think Britain's likely is the one that doesn't get touched. There is a possibility, though, like you say, that goes on Golden Swamp. We know how important center control is, and if you just get a couple castles and good mass in the center of the map, you could roll forward with longbows in the late game.
I could
you
also
do the same with long boats. So
yeah, true. He's got access to both. I could also see Britons on Enclosed. As not
do
really
you want to do that on a map, though, that swings from side to side as often as Mr. Yo's shown that he's willing to do that, though?
Well, I only say that because some players think, and I know Yo has said this at least for Arabia, that Britons can counter Mayans.
Okay.
But more than likely, TaToH's going to have Chinese there, I think. It's just Chinese can kind of do everything. Britons normally just going archers, which can be a little awkward at times.
On the other side, where do you put the civ distribution with the remaining 5 for Mr. Yo?
Yo is tricky to predict.
Right?
I felt like he picked Mayans because it was available, but it wasn't necessarily screaming to be played on any particular map. So I think if he plays Mayans anywhere, it's on Enclosed.
So Lithuanians on Kawasan? So
could be Kawasan.
You get out early for a dock with the extra food, good feudal age timing.
Yep.
There's always a relic in the middle of the map, and that's a great place for Siege Workshop Knights and Monks to launch from. So that's a possibility.
I could see Berbers versus Franks on Rocky Forest. He is expecting there to be Franks there. So maybe even Hindustanis.
Hindustanis is what I was thinking. That could be just a straight-up Civ call right there.
Yep.
Like, yeah, I see Franks. That's likely what you're going for, and I just want to match Hindustanis up into it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a bit of counterplay could be at work there. There's TaToH back at his desk now. What if we really have to use the bathroom? Just asking for no reason.
If we do, I think we give each other a hand signal, and the other one has to solo cast for the length of time that it takes the other to go to the restroom. And our goal is to make it so that chat is completely unaware.
What's the hand signal? Just curious.
So there you have it. That'll be the hand signal, and we can go ahead and look for that in the future if and when it does come up. But we'll continue to wait to see what the recipe for success for TaToH is to try and even this one up in the series. 2-1, Mr. Yo versus TaToH. Love to see that the series is going tit for tat at the moment. And T90, like you were saying to me when we arrived here today, every single one of Mr. Yo's series seems to go the distance. Only a couple of them have been a map short. And when it's TaToH looking to strike back in the best of 7, map number 4, the answer will be Golden Swamp, and it will be the Vikings pick for TaToH in the blue. For Yo, he's lunging for the Lithuanians in the red. And so when we talk about Civ strength, we know that the Lithuanians, they've got that extra food in the bank right off the bat. Makes it easy to go for an early dock if they so choose and still hit a good feudal timing. On the other side, we've got the Vikings, right? They want to drop that dock, sometimes go for galley play early, or even look for a castle and then transition back onto the water. Longboat control in the middle can be absolutely terrifying to deal with. And so I really think, as we already see a villager coming out here for Yo in the Lithuanians, working away on that food eco and dropping the dock, it's a very solid start.
Absolutely agree with everything you said here, Dash. Great intro to this game. I'm excited to see if TaToH can bring this series back and tie it up 2-2. Vikings for TaToH. Expecting galleys based on what we've seen. Yo, some decisions to make on whether it's fires or just galleys. But I honestly think that this is one of the few civilizations where Yo might justify some land shenanigans. The extra food that you start with allows a little bit of extra floating resources. And we've seen a couple instances where we've seen scouts and whatnot from Yo in the past in this version of the map. So not necessarily in this tourney, but just Golden Swamp in general. I don't think Yo's going to have the best of times with Lithuanians if it's just Navy versus the Vikings. Vikings are simply too good at that.
Yeah, Yo looking for the early scouting information. Already finds the dock here for TaToH, and both players with the fishing ship out onto the field might run into each other. And boom, TaToH gets a nice first hit. Always a good thing to find yourself in the battle of Scout v Scout, and Yo is going to be forced away at this point. No real hills to find either on this map to kind of turn it around and surprise your opponent.
Okay, I want to see what viewers think about this idea. I was thinking about this the other day. For future events, on this map, since we haven't seen a lot of land attacks, Yo hopefully will prove me wrong on that. What about if this, in the neutral areas on the side where the woodlines were, there's there's elevation with some additional stone, which would mean, you have a hill to push from into the opponent's base and also take control of the stone, which would mean, forward castles and defensive castles. I think I'm going to maybe figure that out at some point. I think it'd be cool.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
Actually, in fact, I think you just remove all of the stone from the players' bases.
And then put it on the sides.
Make it real risky.
Yeah, almost
right?
like shoals where the gold is in that area, but you make it the stone. That
yeah, you
cool.
want control of the center with a castle? First, you got to go to the wings.
Yeah, I like it.
Or just buy a really expensive castle with only gold. That would actually probably be what players would do.
That's true.
They just go to the middle, mine a bunch of gold, and then just buy all of the stone in actuality.
We did see Nicov with 70 on gold, 0 on food, 0 on wood on this map at one point, so you're not too wrong on that.
Well, it's funny, and Nicov has said a couple times that this is a strange map to keep your food eco up on, right? Because so often your focus is just about that wood and that gold for water control, and that beyond a transition to imp, sometimes you sort of forget how important it is to maybe drop a little bit of a few of those farms and keep the food eco up.
Yep.
Double dock for both players, but Yo opting for that forward second dock to make sure that he can get the aggression out nice and
Look
early.
at TaToH micro the fishing chips away from the scout for a second there. Scouts being annoying. This is the extra food from the Lithuanians, paying off here the fact that Yo can start to make Navy faster here. But he is opting for the fires. It's very common on this map that both players will end up losing fishing ships. It's more so a conversation of how long your fishing ships are alive. And that Yo villager, he might be up to something funky here. Oh my god, look at TaToH. That is really interesting, Dash. He's going to create a little hiding spot for his galleys.
Yeah, because fire galleys not going to be able to deal damage over the top of those walls in that gate. Now, at the very least, Yo is once again aware of it.
Yeah.
And so we'll know that he'll have to navigate around that, even wanting to drop a third dock for more production here. TaToH trying to harass that villager and slow down the progress that he's making. One fishing ship does go down. Looks like a second one might as well. And the first two galleys are out onto the field.
So my expectation here is that Yo will eventually lose his fish. He's still making fires, and he will still keep an eye on these galleys. But TaToH, 0 fishing ships, does have wheelbarrow for free with the Vikings. This just looks cool, right? This is awesome. There's nothing you can do about this if you're Yo. You just have to wait until TaToH outmasses you.
So big brain. I love it, man.
Yeah.
And if it actually pays off, which it's looking like it will, right? It's such a safe way to mass up those galleys. We've got 2 on the field, 2 more about to join. He'll soon be up to that kind of magic number of 6. Where you can really effectively kite out those fire galleys, and he still always has somewhere that he can retreat to. You just have to make sure you don't let the fire galleys in as well and end up penning yourself in. But with just 4, he feels like he's got permission to go out onto the map. A great demo, though.
How's it taste, TaToH? How's it taste? Shoe on the other foot there. Yo with the demo on TaToH's galleys. They are incredibly weak now.
Yeah, fantastic find from Yo, but still just now getting his first of the military kills and throws away a fire galley to make it happen.
Oh, that was so sick. You know, TaToH, right now he's focused, but he respected that so much.
1,000%.
Like he's the one who usually is doing that. Lovely play here from Yo, up 2-1 here in this series. And loving the opening for him so far. It's actually looking likely that he could hold on to water by the time he makes it to Castle.
Yeah, fletching just arriving, though, for TaToH as he looks to loop his galleys back and perhaps bring the numbers up.
There's another demo somewhere from Yo, according to Capture Age.
Yeah, it's not in this dock. Could be the other forward dock. Yes, it's in that one. He's waiting for him to do the loop around.
Oh my god, he's going to get a couple kills here.
Ooh, gets the snipe. Long-range snipe with the fire galley. Only 5 total here on the side of TaToH. And he sees that flag, I think. So he's going to take the long way around this time. Fool me once. Fool me twice.
All right, well, mark it there for Yo, and this is always a transition to the next stage. I'm actually curious, how did he make a mill somewhere other than his berries? He did. He made it on the deer. Interesting. Because typically you've got a mill on the berries. Obviously you need a mill before the market. Yo keeping track of TaToH's Navy. I think he was a little unsure on where it was until now.
Yeah, I like the Town Watch play, though, as well, because it means even the docks, right, are going to have great vision at this point. And Navy is really the only threat as of yet on this map. Market about to complete there for Yo, and a much better economy lead, 34-30 overall, because of his ability to keep those fishing ships alive. However, they are on the run at the moment.
Yep. But I think you could delete them right now and still feel very good about your position. Obviously, you should not do that. But what you might want to do is leave them right next to the dock and tempt TaToH in to kill them.
Oh, baby. Let's go. Does TaToH take the bait? That's the big question. Well, given the fact these 3 fire galleys are there, at least for the time being, he's going to look to continue to kite this out and find some snipes. Still a solid engagement, though, for the fire galleys, as Mr. Yo doesn't lose any of his numbers and has that Vill forward to go for the repairs.
Love how Yo is always repairing. It's expected now that he should start to lose his ships. Might be a good time to try for the demo. He's not going to do it if the Navy from TaToH isn't close.
Yeah, and if you
because
see your
TaToH's going to
opponent
have time.
actively microing, right, I think at that point, even when you are in somewhat decent proximity,
Yep.
you got to give credit where credit's due to these top-level pros that they'll see it and get the split. But that's a great Vill snipe, removing any possibility of repairs and all of the rest of the fire galleys there that were forward from the map. Still see 3 there for Yo somewhere on the lake.
The key here is just having your docks, right? As we see a demo, just go trade against the demo from TaToH, which is fine. You just want to have your docks up because when you're in Castle Age, you want War Galley. Man, this is impressive because Yo, who just casually fixes his hair, he still has a stone, right? So when you're normally the fastest up times on this map, you sell all your stone to buy food. But he's got a stone to drop TCs. Like, his long term here is going to be incredible.
I'm a little sad. There was 28 food that each of those fishing ships together held, and they went down with it.
Yeah.
So would have liked to have seen him drop that off at the dock. It's a very minor thing. Again, phenomenal Castle Age timing out of Mr. Yo, and looking for double bid axe behind that.
Look, he's like, come attack me, come this way. Please. Okay. I thought he was going to try and...
he was just trying to blend in. Hey.
I think we could classify that as a misclick for
Yeah, I think so as well.
But I thought he had a master plan with it, so...
Maybe he won't notice that his Civ doesn't get Fire Galley, and, and I'll blend right in. All right, 35 seconds away here for Mr. Yo. It's 2 minutes and 18 seconds still till the Vikings player can reach the Castle Age and begin the longboat production.
Neither player has their scout. I would be extremely paranoid if I were TaToH because I'd have a feeling that I'm behind. But remember that this game typically goes long. It's all about small advantages over the water control in the middle. And there's the demo from Yo. He knew his dock was probably going to go down. He did weaken some of those ships, which is probably worth it. Researching War Galley and that dock, which will complete, and he'll have about 6 fires in a moment. Crucial timing for him, though, is going to be to kill those galleys before they're upgraded by TaToH.
Exactly, and with this with the timing advantage, he definitely could, as long as he finds the right angles for the fight. We have a stable going up at home for the Vikings player, of all people. Wonder if that's just for another scout and more vision, or if he's actually considering the Viking Knights.
You know, I think the scout is where you start. Get out of here, fly. Get out of here.
Shoot, fly.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. But as you see you're losing water and maybe even sense that you're going to lose water badly, and TaToH was even scared to go in there because the fires would have followed, I think you've got to do something different. And I'm not sure if it will work because we've seen so many instances where the player who's behind to the town centers and behind on water control in this map struggle. But it's something.
Well,
and
yeah.
TaToH is known for the side attacks on this map. He was kind of the one who has, I think, the greatest track record for that.
Yeah, scout number 1 out, scout number 2 on the way, longboats in the queue. But you had said, for Yo, the assignment is getting these galleys off the map, and I think he'll achieve just that. So much so that TaToH not even going to go for the War Galley upgrade. It's just going to be a bodkin click for those longboats in the end. Scout taking a little bit of damage as he comes forward to look for more information.
Yeah, and longboats do a good job against fires once you get the mass, but in a closer game, it wouldn't just be longboats that Yo would have to deal with here. So great work from him. He should grow in the eco lead. It's tough to get a big lead on the Vikings because they have wheelbarrow and handcart for free. Yo doesn't even have wheelbarrow yet.
Yeah,
but
in the end, 3 TCs, though. Already working away here for the Lithuanians player. Just needs to make sure he's got the number of Vills on food to actually sustain production.
Yep.
Which he doesn't have just quite yet.
It's crazy, though. Like, if you just hold the middle on this map, you have such a big lead, and longboats shred the fire so quickly that TaToH still got a really nice chance in this game. Yo, 44 villagers, just 41 for TaToH. He's not that far behind. And TaToH's scouts are out there to stop the Lithuanians from getting the relics.
Oh, yeah.
So if we could watch TaToH's scouting here. Yeah, he's got a scout waiting already. I think Yo, though, is adding a barracks so he can have spearmen to protect his monks.
Which is very, very smart. Good sixth sense. And he did see that scout on the water earlier.
Yeah.
And so I think that was enough of information that for him to know that he'd have to give some defense to these monks if they want to be brave enough to go out and look for the relics. One already brought home, though. So, again, Castle Age's timing paying off in that regard, just that he could get an early one in.
Look at this from Yo. It's just funny. He goes in to attack the docks, expecting the longboats to come in. He knows the longboats are really, really good with micro. So he goes in, attacks the docks, now runs away. Just keeping the longboats away from the other areas of the map right now.
I also appreciate this, though. TaToH stopped production of the longboats, I think, because he recognized that Mr. Yo wasn't going hard on water anymore.
Yeah,
so
I agree. Because to anyone who's like, well, why give the longboats time? Look how good the longboats were there. Like 6 fires versus 7 galleys, a little different. But longboats against fire ships are on another level. Let's see the relic attempts here for TaToH and Yo. Looks like Yo already has 1. I don't think we'll actually be seeing a lot of cav in this game. But Lithuanians do get extra attack on their cav per relic. As some of the ships get caught there, which does happen on occasion on these types of maps, Yo's just going to do a little ring around the rosy, and he's going to hope to bring this all the way back to his dock where he has a demo waiting.
How much do we have a distance traveled stat on Capture Age? Nautical miles sailed?
I don't think so, but I would like
because, man, some of these ships have really been on a journey in this game. All right, 9 now is the count, though, for the longboats, and like you say, going to make quick work of the remaining fire ships here from Mr. Yo. Wheelbarrow completes back at home to help even out the ecos a little bit, and doesn't quite get the snipe onto the monk, who will turn around and look for a conversion. Mr. Yo might even consider a delete, if not running this fire ship just to its death.
Nice job here from TaToH.
2 relics, by the way,
for
TaToH. 2 relics. Through all that, 2 relics made it all the way back home. And so great denials here from the Lithuanian player. Does look like Yo will secure the one just outside his base in the south.
Oh, man, this is interesting. Normally, you see the person against the Vikings try and come onto water later. Yo not happy about how that would play out for him, so he's going 4 docks. He's got fletching, he'll need Bodcanero, and he's going to go War Galley. And while the longboats are a bit easier to control, the war galleys, and especially the galleons versus longboats, are slightly better in the later stages of the game. Yo's got to move away from his wood line, though, and let's see if he can afford to produce out of those docks here without that wood.
Yeah, that's a good question. Relocating quite a number of villagers.
Monk goes down there. Yo is on point right now. He is, I mean, there was a bit of a question from him even on if he could perform to his best ability if he is not playing, you know, from home. Yo has looked incredible. And look at that. He's got the demo there. It's so close.
Oh, it was so well hidden behind the galleys, but unfortunately doesn't find a big hit. Now ejects the rest of the war galleys to take the fight here straight up against the Castle Age longboats. And in the end, I think it'll be a fairly even trade between the 2 players, but the numbers are still in favor of TaToH overall.
I'm really surprised that Yo moved out when he did, but I'm going to trust his judgment here that he feels like he can be taking these fights.
I mean, 5 dock or 4 dock, soon to be 5 dock production. Maybe he just feels like right now he can out spam.
Maybe.
As I say that, though, I see 0 on gold, so that's not going to last very long.
Oh, true. Yeah, and that's not something he's probably realized because he just finished that 1 gold pile. Oh, man, a really big mistake there from Yo. He's selling wood because he couldn't produce the ships. TaToH's getting some great pickoffs.
Yeah, a little bit of a miscalculation there.
Knight's going to head in there, though. That Knight could actually deny the town center if TaToH's not careful. TaToH needs some walls. TaToH will get the walls down. One villager will die.
The longboats can also rotate over, snipe that Knight, but also the war galleys will do the same, taking a note and pushing the villagers back, delaying the TC going up in the center of the map. A couple of those Lithuanian Knights out onto the field, and with 2 relics back at home, they pack a nice punch, that's for sure.
Look at that economy for TaToH. He hasn't collected as many resources in total, but he has so much food off similar amounts of farms. Yo's economy looking pretty good as well. I'm not liking some of the fights he's taken. What a great job from TaToH to not completely lose this game after how disastrous the start was. But a close game, a game that will probably go the distance here, and in a best of 7, it just feels so much more important for TaToH to get this victory if he has a chance.
Yeah, down 1 in the series, wants to even it all up. Both players with proper amounts of stone for a castle. The question becomes, where does it get placed? And Yo's the first to show his hand. He's going to the middle T90.
Yep.
He wants control, and that will range the TC. But TaToH has the same idea. It's just a 3-vill build, though. How many are coming forward here for Mr. Yo? It looks like 10 to 15.
Yep, answer's definitely more. So both castles should go up. Imp timing's always crucial here. TaToH's already on the way to the Imperial Age as well. And TaToH's Navy is proving to be stronger right now. I'm loving this position for TaToH. He could deny this castle if he wins this fight on water.
He definitely could. Only 5 galleys remain. A few more make their way out of the dock, though, to try and buy time. I think TaToH's aware of it, though. So the question is, does he go for the Vil snipes, or does he take the fight against the military? And I'm not sure which is the right choice. TaToH seems to know, though. He's going to whittle down the villager numbers. The castle will still definitely go up.
Yeah, I actually don't love it because he will lose a couple ships when he leaves if he doesn't get the timing right. Let's see. Castle will complete. 1 ship down, 2 ships. That's almost 3 ships that go down there. But he is up faster here. He knows what this is going to be now. It's going to be Navy and it's going to be Trebs, and he still does have the Navy numbers.
Yeah, both players on the way to imp, but a whole minute advantage here for the Vikings player in TaToH. He also has a small 5-villager lead, and still Handcart working in his favor.
The Vikings are so insane here. TaToH, he used the Dravidians in the previous game. It was a bit of a specialty pick for him and some other players in this tournament that didn't impress in the long run. Let's see if the Vikings can impress in the long run against the Lithuanians when the Lithuanians have 3 relics. That's no joke. If a couple Latus or Knights get into your base right now, if you're TaToH, you don't have a lot of defense for that.
And I'm thinking that might have to be the answer for Mr. Yo, because I'm just not sure in the end game how you compete against the Vikings here on water.
Yep. But
he will try. He's got 6 docks up at the moment. Just needs to get the numbers up as well. And then it's about holding those castle positions.
Remember how bad the start was for TaToH? Look at the KD now. 63 to 48. He's really turned it around.
Yeah, that's what Micro will do for you. And it's kind of what he experienced in that last game, right? He felt you know, the disadvantage of the range and the mobility of those Magyar Cav archers, and now he's doing the same to his opponent, just on water.
Yeah, couple Latus streaming into TaToH's eco will be annoying. Yo, trying to hit both sides. You have a Latus there. There's a Latus currently killing something there as well, and that's a ton of damage output.
Yeah, and finds the wood line.
It's perfect from Yo, right? He's doing everything he can. Still big struggles on the water, though.
Yeah, 27 idle villagers, now 30. A couple of villager kills as well to help try and even those numbers out. Second castle, because Yo understands the importance of these center positions and how he's later to the Imperial Age. Castle already under threat and down to about half health. We've got chemistry on the way for both players. Bracer already complete for the Vikings, whereas it's 20 seconds away for Mr. Yo.
Yep. I don't know if Lithuanians get fast fire, to be completely honest with you. And while I should probably know that, and I'm leaning towards they do, I think that tells you how frequently we've seen Lithuanians in this position in a competitive situation, right? It's just not common to see the Lithuanians focusing on water in the first place. And if Yo wants to focus on land, he would need the castles, which are all fixated, or like placed in the middle, which he's currently losing.
Well, chat's telling me that they do. And so maybe that could be a saving grace there for the Lithuanians in the end. But back to your point, T90, overall, it just seems that it's not a Civ that wants to go late into the Imperial Age on water against the Vikings.
Yep.
One castle about to go down, in fact, has to pull the villagers from building the other to try and get the repairs through, and still loses it in the end. Complete center control lost here for Mr. Yo at this point.
Yeah, and honestly, that's actually good for Yo. He can just save that stone and hopefully build some things elsewhere. He's probably going to lose water, but you can see Yo getting blacksmith upgrades now, getting light cav, and by the way, Galleon's about to complete, but it's going to be at the worst time because all the ships are going to die anyways. A big surround from TaToH. He also sees the villagers running to the north. Beautiful play from the Spaniard.
Yeah, he's going to lose all of his navy here, and I think it's a full transition onto land. You can see those techs beginning to come in for the Lithuanian Cav. Bloodlines, first armor, and in the south, we've got production buildings going up. Sneakville, ooh, not quite sneaky enough. Does get caught by the vision. And so if TaToH notices, shouldn't be too surprised, could possibly get some walls up or some units in response.
Yeah, so you want your castle in your base right now if you're TaToH, because you already have the middle. The ships are doing a good enough job, plus you have a castle there. Just simply go for a castle in your eco and prepare for the raids.
Yeah, he noticed, and he dropped a castle immediately behind that TC on the southern side. Should get it up well before too many units come flooding in. Chain barding on the way, husbandry as well, but also stables going up on the opposite side. Mr. Yo going for the pincer attack. He's sacrificing the middle at this point, not with much choice, I guess I'll say.
Yeah.
And he's going for the full flood into the eco. What is that castle placement against the edge of the map?
Yo! Dude, it's going to take so long to build that. Okay, well, I guess he sees the castle from TaToH, so he wants to maybe treb it down. The idea is there to focus on the sides, and he's looking at both sides. But initially, that was a one-villager castle.
Oh, what a goofy. Like, any... You know, like, there's so many games where you would be seeing that as a caster, right?
Yeah,
if it wasn't a pro, you know, like, you'd be so much more critical of it. But it's like, I get it. He needs a trebbing position to try and eat through this castle. It's just so hilarious that it goes right up against the edge of the world.
I think when you have the middle gold control, you even buy a lot of stone here. Like, who cares? You're going to have the gold, right? So just buy stone for castles. Yeah. And having the ranged upgrades will help your castle. We've got pikemen now, which will have a little bit of coverage against the raids. Thank you. Lithuanians also get elite cannon going. Thanks for making me look like even more of an idiot production.
Yeah, they get everything but shipwright.
Yeah. I mean, there's no docs to research that right now, so not the most relevant. But big problems for Yo still. It's going to have to be through that one castle up against the edge of the map that he has any chance.
I don't know, though, if he'll even get enough damage done in time, because this push up the gut is looking very threatening. 3 trebs, making quick work of all of the buildings. It's a mill to replace the loss of the TC there for Mr. Yo, so that he can hopefully sustain his farming eco. It's a castle in response to the stable in the north, and that will remove that forward position from Mr. Yo. So really, I think it's about this southern push. And to that end, TaToH already refocusing his efforts in that direction, now with the treb working away.
This is great from TaToH. He's got castles on both flanks. He's got a castle in the middle. If he really wants to go for the kill now, he could place a castle in Yo's base. And Yo, he lost his armor upgrade because the blacksmith went down. He's having to try and relocate the relics. His population's only at 125. It really doesn't look good for him right now.
Yeah, Winged Hussar seems to be the call for the moment. Relocating relics as well to the back of his base, dropping an ultra defensive castle way in the back.
Yep.
Won't be able to be ranged by any of the Navy. Of course, the Trebs then will need some more land military to support them going forward. But it is continued production of the Viking Berserks to make that happen. Now 19 and 13 pikes to go alongside them.
TaToH, I believe, has found the edge of the map castle and is trebbing it.
Yes.
And that's a bad sign here for Yo. I want to see some crazy TaToH damage control here. We're going to go to TaToH's point of view. He's going to notice Hussars come into his treb here in a second. Watch this. I just have so much belief in TaToH. He's raiding, obviously. Okay, so he sees that. Okay, he's kind of got pikemen. I was expecting some walls, to be honest.
No, yeah, he's very aware, though, right? And that's the thing. Everything is in place just in time before Yo can find a response. The fact that he scouted out all of those forward positions, look at this, looping the pikes around to play defense around this single treb.
Yep.
And he'll slowly whittle that position away here from Mr. Yo. Was feeling like kind of his only foothold into this game, because on the front, he continues to lose ground in his main eco. Pulling the boys and girls here. The Villes coming forward to try and take out the trebs, but with the Berserks in response, I don't think he'll lose a single one. This feels like a GG moment and a last-ditch effort.
Absolutely, and I believe these are elite Berserks now as well for TaToH, so these things are no joke. They've got decent enough upgrades. They certainly are the go-to unit if you can get to them with the Vikings. And, well, that's a lot of villagers from Yo. I'll give him that. And he will actually take out all of the trebuchets, but he loses his castle as well. He calls the GG. And we have ourselves the series that we all expected. It's all tied up 2-2.
Dead even once again. TaToH finds the response after falling down on Morass in the previous game, and it was a somewhat similar situation where just great usage of the better ranged unit in the longboat, and great kiting into a solid imp timing. Control of the center, and didn't feel like Lithuanians had an option at that point.
I think Yo really had a good chance there, though. There was a point where he was on 4 docks. He had all of his Navy garrisoned in the docks. Maybe for Yo, and this might seem like a silly thing, but maybe he actually misjudged the numbers that TaToH had, because longboats stack. They like stack on each other. So 20 ships can look like 30 ships, or like 5 ships can look like 18 ships, or 18 ships can look like 6 ships. It's just hard to tell. I didn't feel like TaToH was pushing at a level where Yo needed to hop out of his docks unless he was going to win the fight. He hopped out, lost a bunch of numbers, fell apart.
Not just that, but that was also the moment where he randomly had no Villes on gold, remember?
Yeah,
and
that as well.
Then the production just stopped.
Yeah.
Because he did have more docks. He
Yep.
had more production buildings, and the fight was being taken closer to those docks. So perhaps he just assumed, I'm going to outproduce in this moment, overwhelm on water, and get that control that I'm looking for. And it was just poor timing that the Villese had worked through the final gold pile that they were currently located at. And then he had to go for some market abuse. But just as we talked about how highly valued the Dravidians were in the draft, look at that. The #1 Civ pick for Mr. Yo goes down.
It's an interesting one to be #1, too, because we haven't seen Lithuanians on Golden Swamp. So overall, it just feels kind of weird, you know?
I wanted it on Kawasan.
Yeah, but Yo obviously doing some process of elimination, right?
Mm-hmm.
The crazy thing for me is, if you look at the civilizations that Yo has left and where civs have typically been played, there's actually a world where he never plays Mayans, which is a very rare thing.
100%.
You think so?
I think, yeah, Mayans are on enclosed, Hindustanis on Rocky Forest, and then it's just between Berbers and Malians for Kawasan.
Yeah,
that's my call. That's
probably
my call.
prefer Malians. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, I could be wrong, of course, but
I'd just be shocked if Yo didn't play Mayans, right?
Yeah.
But I really like the idea of Hindustanis on enclosed because of the ability to boom. But, you know, Hindustanis don't have a very good win rate in this event. We'll see. TaToH, he doesn't get to decide. It will be Yo.
That'd be, hey, man, there's another tournament idea.
What's that?
Where you do like a Civ draft for your opponent.
It has happened before, actually.
Oh, there you go.
And it was hosted by Jordan.
Ah.
It was called The Resurgence.
Oh, wait, yeah, I watched it.
I mean, to be fair, Dash, dude, you're very busy, man.
I consume a lot.
You're a very busy man.
Age of Empires, though.
And if it makes you feel any better, my opponent didn't know that he was drafting for me when we did the draft. So I got Spanish on Regicide Fortress. So even my opponent didn't know. So
that's brutal.
Yeah, but there's a lot of
Read the
events,
handbook,
right?
okay? Read the player's handbook before you go into a tournament. But for game number 5, it will be Kawasan, and it's going to be the Malay for TaToH up against the Malians pick for Yo.
All right, so I easily confuse these civilizations. So if I misspeak and say Malay or Malians for either, I apologize, viewers. But I like both of these picks. There's a very satisfying bonus that the Malay can make use of here, which is lots of dock vision. It does actually play a role. We might see some unique things with that. But the Malians are my favorite here because of all the things they're able to afford with wood. It's 15% off any wood building. That means your houses, your lumber camps, mining camps, barracks, archer ranges, stables, docks. And that all adds up. And there's a lot of that on this map. Yo, notably, the player who loves to forward on this map. We haven't seen a lot of forwarding in general, but look for Yo to take the water and then shifts focus to land a little bit faster than TaToH here.
Yeah, and you can already see the recognition of that Malians bonus by only putting 4 on wood to the 5 of the Malay player.
Yep.
Because of the fact that those docks will go up nice and cheap-like. Mr. Yo, the first one to move out to a pond, and it will be the southern pond to drop his first dock. And it looks like, from the mini-map, that TaToH will split and go to the top side.
Yeah, and I wonder who that benefits here. Malay do advance faster to the next stage, which gives them some crucial timings. I'm not sure if the faster to feudal age matters as much as the faster to castle age, though, because there's a lot of craziness that'll happen in feudal. And if you are already ahead in the game and you make it to castle age faster, you can get further ahead. If you're behind in the game, though, sometimes that bonus can kind of bail you out, which is quite nice.
Yeah, it's kind of, there's a give and a take with that faster age up for the Malay, right? Because of the fact that you go up so much faster, it's typically you're arriving to the next stage with less resources than maybe you would expect, but you also got to squeeze out a couple more vills, so in the long run it can really pay off. Just a tricky civ sometimes to judge if you're not well practiced on it. But at this level, all of these players more than unlikely to be surprised by that. First fishing ship out onto the field for Mr. Yo.
Look at the vision.
So, small advantage in that regard, but exactly. Hard to be surprised if your opponent wants to come forward and contest on water. And with the scouting already done, I believe both players will be aware that they've traded sides of the map. And now it's a matter of whether or not they even want to go out for a second dock position and contest in the feudal age.
This is an invitation for Yo to add the barracks that he so loves.
Because he did just that.
Because if you go, if they're on your pond, you have to respect it and go 2 docks. If they're not, and it's going to take some time to damage you, you can afford the barracks. And then you could adapt on water later on. So I actually think this is worse for TaToH And I'd like to see TaToH scouting again just so I can confirm some things, because he's going up fast. Super, super fast. And TaToH here looking around here. He's running forward with his scout. He's going to be feudal age in 30 seconds.
Say super fast and without a barracks or a second dock anywhere. There's the barracks now, but that timing's late.
Yeah, it's just so tough with Melee, right? Because while you get the feudal age faster, that means you need to have the resources faster, and they don't have any bonuses that allow them to bring in resources faster. So, but I like the barracks because he probably knows Yo, right? He probably watched all of Yo's games. Everything that I'm saying here is something that TaToH will be aware of. And if he expects the man-at-arms, he could go for an archer range.
Yeah, but he chooses the wrong direction here and hasn't gotten vision of that barracks. Sees the berries, so now has a sense of exactly where that TC is for the opponent and does avoid taking any damage. Looping back around now, just getting vision of the barracks and the flags.
Yep.
And so should be able to track any of that forward aggression. Archery range, immediate response here, and villagers moving to gold, so means the militia aren't going to find much at all.
Okay, so yesterday, Yo went for 2 militia man-at-arms, and Jordan was casting with me, and Jordan and I were both confused and said it wasn't going to work. Then he got good value, right? Then I interview him, and I said we were confused, and he goes, "Why? I thought it was very good." So this must be a thing for him. 2 militia. Who knows if we'll actually go for man-at-arms here, though? And we see a dock for Yo over on TaToH's side. I don't think the Melee dock vision gives TaToH vision on that. So Yo with all the initiative so far.
Yeah, I think since you've already seen the archery range up, you avoid that man-at-arms click, right, or anything like that. So it's really just about some annoyance here from the 2 militia drush. Good house walling there by TaToH in the back to kind of force everything towards the TC. If Yo wants to find anything, but completely unaware, like you mentioned, of the pressure that he's about to undertake there at the top side of the map in the pond.
Think about everything Yo's been able to afford. The barracks, the range, 2 docks. He's making archers. He's making fires. It's just all the wood savings. This is the power of the Malians.
3rd dock even. He wants to overwhelm on water on the top side, give TaToH no opportunity to respond, and TaToH still with nothing in the queue in terms of Navy, and so he really is going to be surprised when that fire galley comes out and starts working away on the fish like he is.
Dream start for Yo, but as I say that, I remember, as the scouts are both very weak, that it was also the dream start for Yo in the previous game, and he lost. So TaToH could definitely come back, but TaToH loses his scout. He does find some pigs that he didn't have, but we'll see if these archers can do much for TaToH across the middle of the map.
Yeah, chasing that scout away and the 2 militia. So TaToH going to keep himself safe on land, but loses everything on water there.
Yeah, that really hurts TaToH. TaToH is in a must-do damage situation on land right now with those archers. And Yo's just waiting. He's going to wall up probably, try and play safe here.
Yeah, and he knows it too. Continued archer production, right? 5 already on the map, another one on the way. Would look to see a fletching click sometime soon to make them even more potent upon arrival.
Let's go to Yo's point of view here. He will be blue on his screen, so a little confusing for you viewers, but I hope you understand that. And this is Yo just damage control mode because he knows that he's already winning this game. He just needs to defend from these archers. Fletching's on the way for him. He's also scouting the shoreline with the 2 militia, patrolling them in case TaToH sends a villager. Might be possible there. We'll see. But beautiful. And look at that, actually. We have TaToH going for the dock, so now Yo sees it.
Yeah, he has all the information he needs to build the proper responses. Fletching in first for Yo, in fact, and so the skirmishers can push those archers away. Militia looking for a snipe onto the villager and might even find it, but no, the quick wall comes through from TaToH. Great save in that moment. Still another low health one, though, and archers coming all the way back to deal with the militia and delayed the dock time, that second dock timing, by quite a bit.
And gives Yo time to make a fire galley. So Yo has already kind of benefited from this position because he's had fishing ships for longer than TaToH. But now he's got his skirmishers. They've chased all this down as the archers had to come back to save the Villes. Yo got value from 2 militia again here, didn't he?
Yeah.
From the scouting to the distractions from TaToH to the fear that he struck in TaToH's heart. This isn't maybe the cleanest of battles I've ever seen Yo take, but very impressed with how he's played this game.
No, those are massive finds out of 2 Dark Age units. And take a look at the ecos behind this. Scraping 400 food now here for Mr. Yo and well over 200 gold. just because he's had those fishing ships working away this entire time.
I think he is adding more on the other side now. TaToH may be adding a demo out of that dock before it goes down. No, he's not. He's on the other side here. So TaToH fixating all of his focus on this pond. Will be complicated for Yo to keep those fish alive, I feel, with one dock versus two.
I think this is an incredibly tough position for TaToH to be in. Again, just puts even more of a focus on getting damage done. Yes, he's got the numbers advantage currently on water. Now it's evened up at 2 and 2. He's going to have to micro back. Well, no fishing ships have gone down yet.
I know, and he's going to have the confidence to stay on this water, too, because he has a demo timed perfectly. Look at him repair the fishing ships initially, maybe the fires as well.
Ooh, this could be a massive demo, though. And Yo wants to move out to try and prevent it from getting a snipe, and he kind of does.
He blocked it, and then he gets a return demo, and it's a disaster for TaToH. Yo continues to impress here. So well played, hasn't lost a fishing ship yet, bringing in more and more food from it to head towards Castle Age.
Those fishing ships are on slivers of health and relegated to the shorefish for now, but still working away, and Castle Age comes in.
God.
Look at that time. That's nuts. It has to be market play for TaToH to even look to match it, and of course, again, melee bonus. If he gets the click soon, should actually match or even surpass the timing to the Castle Age, but he'll get there with about 5 less eco units.
This is such a Yo thing. Every other player in this event from Yo's current position goes double range archers into skirms. He is at a stable. He's hoping that with the fish, he can have the food to make knights. There is a concern because for the knights to dominate, they sometimes need siege to accompany them, and also because there's things like monks. Not to mention you probably need +2 armor on those knights. So TaToH, using the bonus in the melee, has clicked up, still with a good opportunity here.
Yeah, losing all the fishing ships in the south now, but going to concede the pond 1 dock to 2, and has full control of the north. We've evened up in the eco units as a result of those finds from TaToH, but it skirms into archers currently, which means he can't go forward and find any more damage, and Bloodlines is on the way for the Malians player. Look at that, though. Melee actually will click, or will make it there first by just a hair.
Crazy. Yep. And TaToH is still in okay economic spot. It's obviously, he's a little behind, but it's not that crazy. I think the timing will be nice here. Ooh, crazy walls for TaToH. I think the timing for Yo will actually be half decent here because he seems like he has at least pushed the archers away from his base. But I don't think he knows they're there now.
Still searching for him, it looks like.
Also, are those the weak villagers from earlier? Because I think they are.
Yep.
Oh, God.
Very low health.
13 HP. Someone make a monk.
13 HP between the two.
Oh,
and
a demo.
Great demo shot, though.
How did he demo that? It was like up the hill. I guess obviously they have a bit of splash.
Or just, and just a delete from 1 tile range uphill. So it doesn't even get them all, but does deal decent damage. A crossbow bodkin coming in now for those archers that have looped all the way around to the right-hand side. Could get a pick or two here on the berries, possibly threaten the wood line in the back. He closes the gap, doesn't find the first kill, though, and microed away are those villagers to keep all of them alive.
Wow, this is great. TC in the middle is so important, as is the outpost. No siege. Yo can't afford +2 armor, though.
Yeah.
TaToH's got some crazy archer micro. Let's see what he can do here. He doesn't really have the numbers.
4 knights, 3 skirms, though I think, well, actually, skirm's just going to go down before they can even close the distance. The question is 4 knights enough to deal with 7 crossbows? Look at the micro go. 1 knight down already. Hasn't missed a shot or a click. The first of the crossbows looking to fall soon. This is impressive. This is micro.
Yeah, this is so good from TaToH. And if there was +2 armor, you wouldn't even kill the knight. There's just such a big difference between fighting with that armor and not. In the end, though, Yo happy to just do other things. Dash will give away the 2 knights, kills the crossbows, and poor TaToH, 4 army after that.
Yeah, monastery for both players in exactly the same moment. A couple more crossbows looped around the north to threaten that wood line and just provide a little bit more harassment. 2 TCs apiece, so villager production should be matched at this point. But Yo has the important position in the center where he can avoid placing more farms early on and still get that food eco in.
Okay, so this is an uncomfortable position for TaToH where he has to wait till his archer mass is high to ever move out. Because if you move out, the knights are going to be in high enough number to snipe you. Curious how thoroughly Yo looks here. Again, I'm going to go to Yo's point of view. Again, he's blue, but he seems to know that there's crossbowmen around. He looked there. I think he looked at the docks to see if the crossbows went by.
Oh my God, he did it. He clicked into the corner.
Yeah, and let's see if he's looking for those vills as well. Oh, he's going to find him there.
What a find.
He's going to find him there. And just all the tiny little things Yo has done here is he runs away from the monk as well, and a conversion comes in. So impressive. Yo back in red, TaToH still in blue. What a game from Yo, though.
Yeah, seriously. Fantastic control over the map. Great vision with all of these outposts. Means that he'll be plenty aware if there's any amount of a push back through the center with a siege workshop.
Doink!
From TaToH. Gets the snipe on the monk, trades the scout life.
Delete that one
any day of the week. Yeah, will he get the delete or will he get out of range? Out of range seems to be the answer. Taking some damage, though, from those crossbows, but still a hole in the back. So should be able to get that knight away and maybe back to a monk for some healing.
I think, I'm trying to think actually what TaToH should be doing here. Oh, he's going to try his best to kill the Vill. And the Vill does die, and the knight gets deleted. Well played, TaToH.
Okay, delays the siege workshop going up, but another Vill comes forward to complete that effort. The question is, will there be a siege workshop in response here? Because getting pushed from that center hill is one scary prospect.
I honestly love a ram here. I think Mangonel's the safe play. But ram on the archer range would be really interesting for Yo, because it takes away a production building that TaToH's relying on.
Also cheaper, right? Just easier to get out right away, and it is a ram. First thing queued up, so well called there by T90. And wants to put a serious amount of pressure onto this production building. Exposed main gold as well, right? Just behind the barracks at the archery range there. So could become difficult here for TaToH to navigate. But while I say that, he does have 17 crossbows on the field, so that mass is getting to a critical point here.
It's so interesting, right? This is why maybe you go ram as well. TaToH's going redemption, expecting a Mangonel, and you can convert Mangonels from your monk's range. You have to stand next to a ram in order to convert it. So had he gone for the Mangonel, it wouldn't really accomplish too much. Yo, on the right side of things here, sees that relic. He already has so many, and he's like, give me that thing.
Yeah, that's pretty big. And this is 6 knights. They're going to push those crossbows away. Just buying enough time for the relic heist. Monk on the way back with it, and also finding great crossbow picks here to whittle the numbers down. Yes, you're going to lose your knights for it.
That's a bad fight, but he's doing it so he can get the relic.
Yeah.
What in the world?
Mission accomplished in that moment, at the very least. And that archery range is about to go down, so TaToH will drop another to replace it and keep up the production speed. We also have a university looking for ballistics to make the micro game that much easier.
Fire ships looking to get converted here. If you convert a fire ship, you can kill TaToH's fish. Yo knows that. Yo also has vision everywhere with the outpost. Does add a Mangonel in the middle of the map. Is getting +2 armor for Lycav and Knights. Needs to prevent TaToH from killing with those archers. TaToH only has 14 crossbows, and he's in desperate need of max value.
Yeah, 14 crossbows and a Mangonel from a hill that's threatening a shot, but maybe Mr. Yo doesn't see it, and the split micro comes through, but he lands one with the target fire and halves the crossbow numbers just like that.
And it's a tricky one for TaToH because he did split, but unfortunately, these guys are far too tall, and the crossbows got hit right in the head. If they were like your height or Dave's height, they'd actually still be alive.
You're going to come at me like that, huh?
You did make a farm joke earlier.
Fair
but, you know, the Knights now for Yo can have a lot more success. And Yo looking to move in on the right and also could run right through the middle.
Yeah, especially with that second armor upgrade completed. And it's even some light cav here as well as a response to the monks. One goes to the other side, though, with the conversion coming through. And hold up. Did he actually effectively convert that ram?
He converted the ram, and now he can't convert Knights, which is kind of sad, right?
That is so hilarious. But here we go. Knights find the crossbows. Might lose one to a conversion. Great converts coming out of TaToH so far. And now his own ram goes down for being a traitor. While all this was happening, Imp was clicked, though, for the melee. So if he can get... Oh, look at his resources. I was going to say, if he can get Bracer and Arbalest, all of a sudden this push becomes a lot tougher in the castle age for Mr. Yo, but I'm not sure he's going to have the resources at least for both.
Yeah, and I'm really worried about the numbers more than anything. He does have a time window. He's got 9 crossbows, but that headshot he took earlier hurt him so much. Yo, you've got to be careful though, dude. Does he cancel this when he sees his opponents in Imp? Nope.
That's a good question. Nope, he wants to go for it. And he's got a few light cav here to make sure that he can get it up. He's actually going to go in and see the castle placed for TaToH just to protect that gold. Chemistry coming in, block printing as well, makes those monks even scarier. We've got iron casting coming in to complete the Castle Age upgrade for those knights here for Mr. Yo. And Mangonel putting some damage into the docks will make the fishing economy of TaToH useless eventually. Castle goes up for both players. 2 minutes away, though, from the Imperial Age for Mr. Yo means he can't really go forward just yet with Trebs and is going to have to keep his alive for the time being.
Yo's economy is insane. 50 on food. That's not even a lot of villagers desperately on berries either. He's got lots of farms. He'll have all 5 relics in the middle monastery. And I think for him, he's actually just going to go light cav, too. He might save the gold for some siege. But Farimba might be the first upgrade he clicks in that castle to get +5 attack on his light cav line. And actually, it's not just the light cav line, it's all stable units for the Malians. And you know if you have the gold and you're not spending it, how good a spot you feel you're in right now.
Yeah, no real need to go for anything more either because it's just monks behind these crossbows currently. Bracer finally complete, so that's the first of the imp upgrades that will aid these ranged units in their quest. Here we go, light cav looping around at just the right moment to find the migration of villagers from TaToH, and so he'll retreat back to the TCs. And only 2 knights here at the moment to play defense. So a couple of Vill snipes here for Mr. Yo. That's going to feel good when you already have a 30 Vill advantage.
This is the best Yo that we have seen in NAC 4. He is on point with every tiny decision. The confidence is high as well. He makes it to the Imperial Age. He clicks Cavalier, and he doesn't go for Farimba just yet, but Conscription, out of that castle as TaToH deletes some knights not wanting to give conversions. There's so many things happening, Dash. I'm waiting for the big fight against TaToH's crossbows.
Yeah, plate barding on top of it all, too, is going to make him so effective at taking these fights against the range units. The conversion attempts come through, and actually, Yo reroutes them, loses 3 knights to conversions. And unfortunately, only 1 snipe comes through for Mr. Yo onto the monks themselves. A bit of a disastrous play in just that moment. Castle under fire on the hill. First Treb in production for Mr. Yo, but he does have some Vills looking for the repairs. Drops another TC at home for safety. But this one just got tricky all of a sudden because of that trade.
Absolutely did. He's trying to make a Trebuchet now. The Trebuchet probably won't be able to make it out. So he's hoping to go with fully armored Cavaliers. But a big issue for TaToH that I'm sure viewers can realize, he's just now clicked Arbalest. So if Yo can take this fight before Arbalest is in, there's a big difference in damage output. You could tell Yo's waiting for it. He's going to go for the monks first. The Cavalier are going to come behind. Don't lose your stables here, Yo. What do? Delete? I don't even know.
14 cavalry units. I think you're fine to take the fight and force the monks to switch their conversion target. But 2 more converts come through. So Cavalier changing sides. But now it looks like the cleanup chase is on. Yeah. Those 3 knights, though, going to come back and look to be a little bit of a meat shield to buy time here as those crossbows become Arbalest and have decent output.
And TaToH could maybe be thinking about pikemen in a different scenario, but he's 50 villagers behind. And when you're 50 villagers behind, you're not able to make that tech switch. He simply doesn't have the food to get the upgrades. And so TaToH is relying solely on the Arbalest. He's going to lose 1/3 of his army here. And this is all before Yo even shows bombard cannons, champions, which is an option for the Malians, or again the Farimba upgrade, which he couldn't get out of that castle.
It did lose his castle position on the hill throughout all of that, so no more Trebs as an option for him, and still no bombards out onto the map, so difficult for him to push deep into TaToH's base, but we have an overchop. We have an overchop, and we have 5.
He was waiting for it.
This was beautifully done.
Was he waiting?
Havoc on the eco of TaToH here. How many villagers goes down? That's the question. It's 3 to 4 at the moment, and he's trying to spam up some of those barracks for the pikeman call, but unfortunately now has to dive back to the TC for a little bit of safety. These light cav, they can live under this TC for a little bit with plate barding armor.
Yep, of course. Yep. And TaToH, it's a bad feeling. You need to push, but if you don't push fast enough, you're going to get raided to death. And Yo is going for the champions. He seriously needs Farimba first, though. Like, get Farimba and max out on Cav, and then make the champion switch. I see a lot of players lose games by trying to make the champion switch while not continuing to make whatever other army that they've had.
Yeah, it's a really good point. You see it right now, the Q is 0.
Yeah, I know. It's
nothing
interesting.
in production while he's making this transition currently. It is a more conservative castle placement there in the center, and that means the Trebs have to go out to a riskier position to try and take that out. The miners have taken out the walls. Oh, great response, though, from TaToH there. Will only lose 1 or 2 Vills, it looks like, on that gold, and gets walls up on the left-hand side. Just now moving forward to see that castle with the Arbalest in the center.
Like, Yo wins this game if he just continues to produce Cav and gets Farimba.
He's got double the Vills, man. It's actually a nuts eco lead at the moment.
And there's Farimba, so a +5 on the attack here. And in the meanwhile, he is going to plan for the champions that have very high Pierce armor. And Farimba's on the way. TaToH trying to keep army out on both sides. We have the Light Cav here looping in maybe for a taste of the Trebuchet. They're not going to get it, but they do run on by into TaToH's economy. TaToH, this is his only shot here. He has to push the middle. The Cav is now through. The attack helped.
Yeah, things going from bad to worse here for TaToH back at home. 62 Vills total with 20 of them idle. Trying to find the answer, and it is just that ball of Arbalest where all of his hopes and dreams hinge on at the moment. But the tech switch continues to come through for Mr. Yo behind all of this with 140 villagers to support the spam. Yes, it's only 17 military, but I feel like he's sitting pretty, and he knows he's got this one in the bag.
Absolutely. He's just being as patient as possible. The raids have bought him a lot of time. TaToH has to be very hesitant about creeping forward. TaToH did take out the monastery that had the relics. He's now advancing on top of the hill, and he will see production buildings there. Oh, no, I forget if I just said he took out the castle. But anyways, he's going for the castle now.
Yeah, you said he lost the relics.
There we go.
Was big.
Okay, there we go.
Was big, and you can see that there. All 5 of them resting in front of that castle. But with the champion tech only 30 seconds away, the question is, when does Mr. Yo show his hand? He's got 15 on the field. He's got 7 Light Cav in support to deal with a few of the monks that TaToH has remaining. But it's basically going to be a battle of 40 Arbalest versus a whole bunch of champions. And these champions are terrifying with their Pierce armor.
And TaToH,
oh, he doesn't even need the fight.
Yeah, TaToH just sees
I
him.
wanted to see the fight.
I know.
I get it, but I wanted to see
I was going to be like, the champions. You know, it would have been perfect, but TaToH said, no, thank you. I mean, unfortunately for TaToH, he was dead for 10 minutes there, but Yo was just being overly patient. Not overly patient, but just extremely wise and making sure he didn't take any risks. Yo is playing incredible right now. He's playing
really
confident. My favorite part of that whole game, this is such a caster comment, was when he patrolled the militia on his pond to find the double dock there, right? Like, so many people get surprised. They lose their fish after killing the opponent's fish. It's a closer game. He actually finds it. He keeps his fish alive with a demo and a couple fires, and then he extends his lead with the eco.
Right,
TaToH,
even though he didn't find the 2 Vill kills.
Yeah.
Right? Just the amount of time he delayed for that second of the 2 docks to go up. And then, like you say, the length at which he kept those fishing ships alive.
That was
incredible. Under pressure. Just nuts.
And then remember, TaToH had to bring the archers back and he had to quick wall in the Vills. So there was a lot of work needed for TaToH there because of that. Yo finds himself in a position where he's 1 win away from moving on tomorrow to the semifinal. He's feeling good right now, I'm sure, but it is TaToH's choice of what we play. It'll be either Rocky Forest, which is TaToH's home map.
I love it,
could
too.
choose Enclosed.
We've split the home maps exactly as they were chosen, right? TaToH winning both of his, Mr. Yo winning both of his. So, you know, at the end of this series, if TaToH can even it up here on Rocky Forest, we find ourselves in a situation where we're reflecting on Outcrop as the neutral map in this one. And the fact that Mr. Yo was able to take it with kind of that really surprising Burgundians pick into beautiful play.
By the way, I don't know which arm it's on. TaToH has a pretty sick tattoo.
It's on his right arm.
Okay, cool. Maybe we can get a zoom in.
To the camera.
Yeah, it's a bunch of trees. And TaToH said,
super dope.
When I complimented him on it, TaToH goes, "It's Forest Nothing, man." TaToH's a big Forest Nothing fan. I don't actually know if he was joking or not. Big Forest Nothing guy. I can't say that I'm that into it to get a tree tattoo, but maybe I need to talk to his artist.
Yeah, I don't need to be into Forest Nothing, though, to be into that tattoo. And whoever his artist is phenomenal.
Well, Dash, we casted the longest game of NAC4. I'm just going to say it. and we might see longer over the next couple days. But and it was on enclosed.
Enclosed. I know.
If
Imagine that being our 7th map.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The writing is in the stars here for TaToH to win Rocky Forest.
Yeah, well, you'll have to, if we do go to map 7, just remember that queue we have for the bathroom,
yes,
right?
Of course. I haven't used it yet.
I was going to say, I'm sure at this point, with neither of us having used it during the set, that maybe you'll have to jump to it. So just keep that in the back of your brain.
Frank's is such a common pick on Rocky Forest. So if we see it, I think TaToH goes that direction. As a bit of a counter, you have the Berbers or the Hindustanis if you're Yo. You seem to feel like Yo can't just give up the Mayans, right? So no. I'm thinking Mayans is probably saved for enclosed for Yo. Yeah. And then both Hindustanis and Berbers are both really strong picks for Rocky Forest.
Right. So, I mean, yeah, for me, I think it's just Hindustanis, though, when you think it's going to be Franks.
Yeah.
I guess you could then ask yourself the question, though, of, like, at that point, do I go Chinese on Rocky Forest and run Franks on enclosed? Like, just flip them? I don't know.
You know what's interesting, though? I think with the type of player Yo is, I think you would prefer Berbers over Hindustanis because you have the option to make knights. And Yo loves his knights, and he loves his 1 or 2 knight counter raid.
It's a better all-rounder, right?
Yeah, and you can't really do that with the Hindustanis. Like, sure, you can control the map better, but you can't really raid. So it's a tricky decision. What map's it going to be? It is going to be Rocky Forest, and it is going to be the Hindustanis for Yo.
All right, here we have it. We're trying to play for the counter unit. It looks like TaToH on down a point here in the set, and needing to put 2 together back-to-back. He'll go for the Franks on his remaining home map into Yo's Hindustanis.
Yep.
Looking to close it all out right here and not let him go to a 7th.
Yep. Well, Franks are still fine here, right? You don't need to be too concerned that the Hindustanis have cheaper villagers and have faster attacking camels and have other bonuses too we won't get into. Just kidding. You do actually need to be concerned, but the beauty of the Franks is still their economy. They have berry bonus that they can take advantage of. Their castles are then cheaper, which is important for the middle. Their farm upgrades are free, and their scouts have a little bit more HP. Literally every bonus there.
I was going to say, there's not a single bonus on this list that will not come into play in this game.
Yeah, that's true, depending on how long it goes, of course. For Yo, a similar thing for the Hindustanis. The cheaper villagers is very helpful. That was recently nerfed a bit, so it's not quite as cheap as it used to be. Camel Riders attacking faster. The gunpowder unit armor, and then also the unique tech for the gunpowder range could be helpful. And who knows if the Camel and Light Cav units doing extra attack versus buildings will play a role. It obviously could. Both these civs are stacked with bonuses.
Either way, reality of this map is there's always early aggression because you take a look at that kind of rocky terrain out in front of these players' bases, as well as separating them from their wood lines, means that it's impossible to fully wall off unless you're going to start from the edges of the map and wall straight to your TCs. And even then, still some of your villagers will be exposed.
I am not a biased caster, but I do want to see TaToH win this game so we get to Game 7. I'm just going to say that. I don't think that's me being biased, but how sick would a Game 7 between these two be?
You're biased towards entertainment.
Yes,
what that
of course.
Tells me, okay?
Of course,
and that's proper bias to have here as a caster in a best of 7. So let's see what the recipe for success will be here for TaToH as he brings his scout forward, looking for a little bit of scouting information and to identify exactly where his opponent is on the map. Will they run into each other? They do see the deers running around, and that's enough to know, all right, somebody's here.
That's what that was as well. I love that. And, you know, you've got a bit of a narrow passage there for Yo's base. This can happen. Again, you cannot wall on the rock terrain here on Rocky Forest. And TaToH's going to see that house. That is normally a position where you'll see a house and then a barracks. So he might double back to that. But, I mean, it could be any number of things, and then there's the scouting there from Yo as well. The positive on this map, it's very easy to find your opponent. Just walk through the middle, across the rocks, and you'll normally see what you're looking for.
Yeah, feudal age time nearly identical for both players, but with 2 villagers throwing up the barracks and getting it up so early, no surprise to see the first militia in the queue here for TaToH. So we'll look to go forward and be the first of the 2 to put some aggression towards their opponent. Just 1 villager working away back at home for Yo on his barracks as we speak.
Does he see the golds here? He does. Oh, man, that's so huge. Because so many people are just going to assume the Franks go scouts. So now he knows his opponent's going for the man-at-arms out of that barracks.
Yeah, that's the confirmation he needs in looping the scout back around. will ideally cop some vision of the barracks and the flags. So double, triple confirmation, if you will, in seeing all three of those units pop out of the barracks and start making their way forward. 15 seconds away from the feudal age. And now just moving to gold himself with 2 villagers is Yo back at home.
Yeah, so Yo shifts game plan. He wanted a scout war. He was happy with that. Now he'll open with an archer range. However, he can't small wall around his wood line. That's the whole point of this map. We've seen Yo win on this map before. We've seen him body block and lose a few villagers against armies, but against a full HP Frank scout and also man-at-arms, he could be in such a rough position here.
Yeah, this is going to be really difficult for him to navigate early on. Might have to pull all the vills for the fight. Already, though, has an idea of the micro game that he's going to have to play. Man-at-arms upgrade completes. And the vills are just relocated this that way and the other. But this is so far a great dance here out of Yo to not lose anything, while TaToH is definitely still buying himself some time by forcing these villagers to stop working for moments at a time.
If you engage right away, that's when they're expecting it the most. But after a couple back and forths, you start to think, oh, maybe they won't engage. There must be something with the level of respect all these top 10 have against each other, because this is like the 3rd time this week I've looked at that and said, why not engage, right? Like, I think you're going to kill a vill or two there, but with TaToH, I think he mainly does it because he wants control. He doesn't want Yo to be able to counterattack, and he wants to have that map control.
I think control is the operative word there, right? While you might trade out the 3 lives of those man-at-arms for a villager kill, that's all of your pressure at that point.
Maybe.
And now Yo can focus on getting his range units out in mass towards your base. And so here we have the first archer onto the field, going to continue the chase for these men-at-arms and slowly whittle them down. In the meantime, back at home, TaToH as well with archers in the queue. And so would expect to see those range units come forward to help aid in the fight. Spearman running a ring around the rosy does go down in the end.
Yeah, some nice attacks here from TaToH, but Yo is probably pretty happy he didn't get attacked on that wood line, because this has been pretty easy for him. The quick walls on the berries were easy enough. The gold's still fine. The eco upgrades are amazing. And TaToH might be thinking, should I have engaged? But when he sees 2 archers chasing him, he's going to know that his archers can move forward. Both players out of the range at exactly the same time, which means that TaToH has an opportunity to do some damage right now.
Yeah, and on the minimap we see those blue dots moving forward. 1 scout here from Yo just to check out what's going on there in TaToH's base, but he did miss those 3 archers that were moving out, and with fletching 10 seconds away from being complete, all of a sudden this wood line is under tremendous threat. This could be multiple villagers that go down if the micro is there for TaToH. He's targeting onto 1. That's a single kill already. The archers are going to continue to micro away, and in fact, he's choosing to fight with the villagers to buy time.
Wow.
So it's 1 vill and 1 archer here that TaToH's able to pick up, and possibly looking for another.
Oh, man, and Yo's falling apart here. He's going to lose his archers. He could continue to lose villagers, and the patience for TaToH paying off here. Will we take it to a Game 7 with this attack from TaToH? No proper wood income for Yo. He has no real counterattack either.
Massive finds out of TaToH. It was another archer, another villager, and a spearman at that. He still has a starting scout here, plus 2 man-at-arms, right? This is now a very scary force that you're trying to defend from. Boom. We got the scout going down as well for Yo, so no more information on the front of the map as TaToH continues to move out to more berry patches, making use of that nice bonus for the Franks. Great trade back here with a couple of those skirmishers to remove 2 archers from the field. Yo trying to mount that recovery.
If there's any concern here from TaToH that this army count from Yo is going to come over to your base and actually do damage to you, I'm completely fine with the tower. Sometimes players will add stables for scouts, because it's a bit skirm heavy currently for Yo, but 2 villagers killed, lots of idle time there. TaToH also, I guess he's looking for more berries here, but he has been taking additional berries on the right side. So I think he's in the dream scenario to win this game. Let's see if he can keep it up, though. Yo has done some pretty crazy things, not only in this series, but in NAC4.
Yeah, a little unfortunate for him. Those 2 villagers, they're really, really trying to find these berry bushes and haven't been able to. Here we go back to the right-hand side, though, for the engagement of militaries. And unfortunately, because he hasn't been able to get rid of those skirmishers, these archers are in full retreat mode here for TaToH, trying to find the snipes with the micro as he does. Gets rid of at least all of the archers. But if Yo is good with it, I think he'll get 2 more of these kills.
TaToH is hoping he can at least keep this archer alive for a couple more seconds because he doesn't want the skirms to go back. Because Yo should, you never really counterattack with skirms here. Yo should expect something, and he should be headed back to his base. Good cleanup there from Yo. KD went from 7-1 for TaToH to 10-9 for Yo.
Yeah, so that's going to feel good as a recovery for Mr. Yo, right? And he's got solid resources in the bank, but he's completely unaware of the scout transition from his opponent. And those numbers can be very scary. I actually am questioning whether or not you want to reveal that scout onto the 3 skirms versus go up the gut.
Like, I think if you already have 2 scouts on the way with archers through the middle, this is okay. But I'm with you, Dash. I think you send the scouts and archers to Yo's base first, and then maybe you deal with that later. But I think it's easy for us to say because we don't know, or we were able to know where Yo was with his other forces.
Yeah, well, and hey, look at this, actually. While all that's happening, he's just going to send more archers forward, and that tower that you asked for, though, goes up for Mr. Yo to protect the gold, and TaToH is just going to realize that now as he runs into it. So diverting back around to the other side, and Yo's already abandoned that wood line, so no more damage found there. But here we have 3 scouts, 5 archers, and a spear. This is a lot of danger, and with the first armor upgrade coming in for that scout, all of a sudden those range units from Mr. Yo need to be very, very careful.
Okay, so classic Yo is like, I'm just going to counterattack here, or what? He would do damage with the counterattack most likely, but no, he's going to come back home. He's on his way to Castle Age. Makes sense. He wants to preserve what he can. Second range for him, so he's planning on more archers. And he knows TaToH's got to be looping around to the wood. Is he going to make another really awkward lumber camp, or is he going to go... Oh, there you go. He's going to go back to the wood line he left previously. That's really smart.
There we go. A little teeter-totter action. But that is a big migration and a lot of downtime for those villagers. And throughout all of that, TaToH has gotten himself a small Vill lead, while his opponent will be the first to the Castle Age.
Definitely a spot where even though Yo will be faster to castle, he has to defend with the majority of his army against TaToH's army. So faster Castle Age doesn't make that big of a difference here. But TaToH actually sells 100 stone. So if he ever, all of his stone. So if he ever needs a tower, he won't be able to do that now.
Yeah, but perhaps he just feels he's got enough control and he can keep the focus over at Yo's base, right? That he'll have the time to mine it back and even go for one of those really cheap Frank castles for center control. And look at that, you relocate the wood line and more scouts come in here from TaToH to be an annoyance.
Great work from TaToH. I like this. He's put on a masterclass on how to control the game with your army. But there are some instances where TaToH could have gotten a few more villager kills. So sometimes it seems like he's a little too happy to just move along. Oh, but this is why.
This is terrifying right here. The army, the military comes in and all of the scouts looped around. And so again, throwing all of our villagers back to the TC to keep them alive. Not too many losses that Yo is going to have to sustain, but it is 2 villagers, and that's going to feel good. And at the very least, there's just no wood control.
Yep. It's so annoying, man. I mean, the map's already annoying enough with wood, but then to be pushed off of it so consistently is wild. Great work there from TaToH. Again, showing time and time again why he doesn't necessarily go all in for Vill snipes to lose his army. He prefers the numbers in the long term. And he's 30 seconds away from clicking up. Kills a couple skirms here. Archers in the middle do have to worry, but they're backing up towards his base.
Yeah, crossbow bodkin in for Yo, and now he's choosing to look for a counterattack, sending those crossbows up through the center.
Oh, perfect from TaToH. Look at the front scout block, and doink, got him. Love it.
5-0 Eco KD advantage here for TaToH. And he's doing that as the player who was an age behind, just now reaching the Castle Age himself, goes for his own crossbow, and Bodkin clicks with Bosa behind it. So needs to buy about 15 seconds before he can afford to take this fight straight up.
Yo needs his best crossbow micro ever here. He's behind in this game. He's trying to get the engagements in before TaToH gets the upgrades, but TaToH now matches the numbers and the upgrades. So beautiful. He gets a hit. He's got light cav. Or scouts, excuse me, and a knight. And look at this from TaToH. So well played. If he keeps this up, we will be going to a Game 7.
An absolute massacre at that with just one knight and a few scouts there with their first armor upgrade and matching the crossbow upgrades 1 for 1. Actually, aside from armor, still takes a beautiful trade. And now once again is on the front foot with his military coming forward.
Yeah, crazy. And I know Yo's going to have some problems here, and he might even GG in a second, but because Yo has such a tendency to take it late, just remember, no real crazy counterattack potential with camels as part of his main comp. So he's going to try the Cav Archers, but will he have the time?
Yeah, favoring that mobility, but at the moment the numbers are so low. It's 15 military to 5 overall, and again, still in a villager deficit. I'm not sure he's going to find a way to get around for one of those counterattacks anytime soon. Husbandry in as well for TaToH just makes it easier to close the gap between his Cav and those Cav Archers. And it's a dance currently at the front of Yo's base, but I think at this point for TaToH, he should recognize the lead that he has. And if he wants to extend the game, he could take a more measured approach to making sure he locks this up and going to a map 7.
Yep, no stone income for TaToH. He's using the units in front as a distraction, and he's hoping the crossbowman can snipe the Cav Archers. And now he's going to split the Knights off. He saw a Monk, so he's using the Scouts to go for that. Lots of damage done here from TaToH's Scouts and Knights, all very well played and controlled. Yo continues to struggle dash. His Cav Archer mass is still so low.
Man, this is so nasty and so beautifully microed by TaToH, right? And splitting out the units for the respective jobs that they're best for, right? You got those Scouts going to snipe the Monks. You've got the Knights wreaking havoc on the eco, forcing the transition of villagers to yet another wood line. Back and forth we go. And now Yo just trying to match upgrade for upgrade. First armor coming in for his camels, but that's only to support 2 camels out onto the field currently.
The continuation of crossbow is just so sick here, because if you just go stable units against the Hindustanis, the Cav Archer camel shreds you. And to set this up, TaToH had to invest more in feudal age. The whole game flow has led to this type of potential, but oh boy. I wonder if TaToH's going to realize that not all the Cav Archers are here anymore. Oh, never mind.
Okay, they decide to come back, and I was taking a look at that right side blue dot as something that might actually pick up the vision.
Oh yeah, I think it's a crossbow there.
Yeah. Look at that. I mean, what foresight, right?
There's a chance TaToH doesn't know about that, but we're going to give the guy credit.
I'm giving him 100% credit for that, bro. 100%. Great vision over there. Now we've got chain barding on the way here for our Franks player. Going to make those Knights incredibly difficult to deal with, especially with those crossbows behind. Working away on some of the production buildings, just taking little advantages as best he can. Tons of archery range being dropped in the back.
Yo, with 3 more ranges because he foresees the production's going to be an issue. But he's not wrong, right? That's been TaToH's focus. And every time he gets an opportunity with the crossbowman, he's going in for damage, killing some villagers. Any new Cav Archers out of the range could be sniped.
Good to keep those numbers up. But now PopCapped needs to drop some houses. Yeah. Because I think, the only answer here for Yo at this point is continued military production, right? Overwhelming mass from those Cav Archers and maybe some small raiding forces going out around the other side in order to get Vill snipes. Monk looking for a conversion, won't get it.
Oh, he's going to wait till the last second to fire on that Monk. Oh, that was so good. By the way, there's his crossbow friend from the right side.
Now, yeah, exactly.
The patience from TaToH is crazy, because normally if you're not smashing Yo in the face, he's going to counterattack to your base, and there's no TCs there for TaToH yet. But because Yo's base is so exposed, and he can't place a good town center on a wood line due to the map gen, Yo is forced to respect it.
Yeah, should be tracking these crossbows, and is. But all of those wood lines, or Vill's on that wood line to the left there, fairly exposed. TaToH just wants to take the fight straight up, though. Crossbows versus Cav Archers, and in these numbers, I think it's going to be good for him. Knights come in to play the meat shield to the camels, and not enough camels there to make quick work of the Knights. And here we go, we're rolling forward. While the numbers did dwindle for the ranged units for TaToH, Yo knows it's over. We're going to map 7, baby.
That micro from TaToH was insane. He had another army on the other wood line during all of that, was adding the town centers. Holy cow, one of the best sets. This might end up being the best set we've seen in all of NAC4. Obviously, we hope all the other ones that we'll see over the next couple days will be as good, but Game 7 hype, it is on the map. That also brought us the longest game in the tournament with Mr. Yo.
Everybody in the chat, take a moment. Grab a drink of water, do some stretching, right? If you need to, make sure you're loosey-goosey. You got a comfortable chair and maybe some snacks here for our 7th and final game between Mr. Yo and TaToH. It has been traded map for map, the entire way. Each of these players taking their home maps, and Mr. Yo starting it out with a win on that neutral map outcrop. Enclosed is what remains. There are 2 civs apiece. For TaToH, it's a choice between Chinese and Britons. For Mr. Yo, a choice between Mayans and Berbers. I know I've been making the case all day for it to be the Mayans pick and one of the absolute favorites of Mr. Yo in the end. And so then it becomes a question of what the response is on the other side.
I think it's Chinese. Chinese is a you can do no wrong civilization if you have a little bit of time. Enclosed typically brings you that time. I remember Jordan versus Viper a few days back when the group stage was still happening, and it did not look too good for the Mayans if the Mayans played at standard, which is a concern because the Mayans are one of the kings of standard, right? But Chinese have the luxury of going for a couple different things here. Here we are, game number 7. Winner moves on to the semifinal. Winner could win the whole thing if they win that. And then the grand final of NAC 4. And these 2 great competitors, 2 of the best in our scene, 2 top 4 players, in my opinion. It all comes down to this.
And such a beautiful matchup. No surprises here with the Civ picks. It will be Chinese versus Mayans on Enclosed. Yo immediately looking to push in those deer. Again, generally on this map, forward scouting not terribly important because as long as you follow the wood line around one way or the other, you will find your opponent.
Is that a hill on Yo's gold there?
It is.
Okay, that could be painful. I guess suppose there's a world where your villagers would actually receive less damage.
I was going to say, the good news is you build the mining camp on that hill.
Yeah.
And you control it. And maybe actually could work in your favor to some regard.
Yep.
On the other side, we've already got both elephants in for TaToH. And taking a look at the idle TC time, there is expected idle TC time for Chinese player, and it's 28 seconds at that.
Yep.
Should hopefully be able to maintain a small villager lead throughout the course of this Dark Age. Not by much, though.
Yeah, I mean,
Mayans get the extra one as well.
Yeah, Mayans get the extra Vil. And they also don't have any adjustments to their resources at their start. Per my knowledge, production continue to correct me if I'm wrong, as you so often do. But the Chinese in the 9 villager start here do start with minus 100 food.
Correct.
As opposed to just 0 food like a standard start. So we'll see. But, you know, again, it's very easy for the Mayans to just open archers. If you want to get to an all-in eagle flood, it is complicated because eagles take 60 seconds to produce in feudal. So it'll be decision time for Yo probably mid-feudal, and if eagles is an opportunity for him here.
And a very, very early feudal hit here for Mr. Yo. 18 pop up. We've already got TaToH moving out for gold with 1 villager, and as you can see on the mini-map, Yo has done the same. 2 villagers out to gold himself.
Yeah, so this is how I see the matchup. I think Dark Age, early feudal, mid-feudal, early castle, that's where the Mayans do really well.
Okay.
Sorry, that's where the Chinese, I think, are slightly ahead, is what I meant to say. Oh, my goodness. TaToH, don't lose your eagle. Oh, that's a disaster for, or that's Yo, excuse me. I'm losing my mind here in Game 7, but really sloppy, and you should know your opponent is there.
That's such a difficult spot to be in, too, because he's forced to take the fight. He's forced to take the fight.
And he can't scout what his opponent's doing.
Ooh, what a blunder here on map 7 for Mr. Yo, losing his ability to scout out what his opponent is going for. He didn't see the goal, did he?
No, he didn't see anything, but with the way the map is structured, you should know that that little opening is where the TC is, so that's a confusing one for me. But if this ever gets to El Dorado Eagles, Yo is a god. I mean, everyone can be a god with El Dorado Eagles, but he had some criticisms of how Jordan had played as Mayans against the Chinese in earlier game and the week, and he's basically like, I think you could have done this to win. So, Yo, I don't want to say he needs to take it late game. But
yeah, makes another Eagle Scout immediately to replace the one that he lost so he can go forward and get some more of that scouting info.
Okay,
also bringing up the archery range at home. So it is going to be archer play. That is so classically the Mayans' approach in feudal age. 17 seconds away from feudal himself is TaToH with a 2-villager lead about when he arrives. And we'll see what he decides to do. Of course, with Vils on gold, it will be archers in response as well. Just a little later to the production of that unit.
Look at TaToH. He's towering already. a very early tower.
It's a very respectful tower.
And a sign of the approach, perhaps, in this game, right? Because if my opponent loses their eagle and can't scout me, I feel like if anyone's going to tower, it's going to be them. But he chooses to just play safe here. On enclosed, your gold is on the outer ring, so kind of makes sense still.
Exactly, right? It's the only exposed part of your eco. And such easy walls in front of your TC to protect the food and the wood generation. Now we've got Yo coming forward finally to get his first look at his opponent's base, only to realize that the tower's about to be complete. And so not much damage will be found. Could possibly threaten these berries. That's the one unprotected part of TaToH's map as of yet. Don't you dare take more damage from that TT. Okay.
He's baiting TaToH into garrisoning.
Oh, my goodness.
It is interesting, though, right? Because if he could go to the berries right now, he would, but he just doesn't see it. And TaToH, the tower actually paid off a lot there, right? Because he realized that Yo was up so quick compared to him that Yo would have the greater archer numbers. Yo currently pop capped at home. I wonder if it's a bad one. It seems to be with all the blinking. A panic house. And, that's
just
a rough
now
one.
starting the house and using 3 villagers to get it down. He even has to go for town watch in order to keep his TC from being idle for too long. Just now seeing the berries, but with 2 archers already in defense here. Going to get pushed away before any damage can be dealt. Fletching will be the first click, though, for the Mayans player. And so a small ranged advantage and damage advantage when that comes in. Scout looking for the snipe, though, before that can even be made use of. And now the Eagle has to turn tail and run.
So you've gotten housed. You've lost your military. Your opponent still has a scout. They are Chinese. They have more villagers than you and cheaper techs. Not a great feeling if you're Yo. Normally a time where players playing as the Mayans feel like they need an edge, and that edge is going to come through the market in most cases. Selling some of the excess wood, just sending additional villagers on gold, all of those things can be very helpful as Nili donates to the prize pool. I don't know if that's actually Nili. I think he's contributed a lot.
Going to say, I don't know whether to believe that
and time and everything already. But thank you, Nili, very much for the donation to the prize pool.
Yes, thank you to Nili. Thank you to everybody who's played a part in upping the stakes here of the tournament. A reminder, as we see, 3 archers looking to find a Vill snipe, but I don't think he'll find it. So TaToH able to save that one with some solid villager micro. 100% of all donations that come in between now and the end of the tournament get directly added to the prize pool for our players. So you can help up the stakes day over day as we have just 1 more series today and 2 more days to follow before we crown our eventual winner here at NAC 4.
Look at the distance between the gold and the berries for Yo. That is so good for you here. Like if TaToH wants to protect his berries with a tower, he needs a completely different tower. He needs to mine the stone. And it's a problem for TaToH currently that he's got to pay attention to. He can't take his berries currently. That's a big deal.
Yeah, can't take his berries and also has a bit of a traffic jam over there on his gold at the moment. So the villager's not really working very efficiently.
Oh, man, that's rough. That's his Vill lead. And then some, right? They're all stuck.
There's 3 villagers just not working.
And if they just get stuck, they don't show up as idle. So sometimes you just don't look at it, and their TaToH has realized it. But still, one of those guys is just wedged in there.
Yeah, even going for a second mining camp just to create some space, but still has to relieve that villager's been stuck there for literally. He's getting crushed by his friends.
Guys, this might not seem like the pro move, but trust me. Delete him. Send a message to the other villagers. It won't happen again.
There you go. Be a taskmaster.
Yep.
At that. All right, 5 archers against 3. Yo's going to have to retreat. TaToH looking for a good position here to find some snipes as they run away. We've got more donations coming through. Love to see that. Lord Pomelo. Pomelo is a great fruit, underrated in my opinion as well, if you're unaware. Market at home. What'd you say for Mayans if they want to get back into it? A lot of times it's going to be reliant on that market play, and it looks like Mr. Yo agrees. Yeah,
and TaToH kind of did a lot of the same because he couldn't take his berries. Also, that tells me that Lord Pomelo cares about NAC4's prize pool $1.35 more than Nili, our tournament host. So that's an interesting stat. Have the chat with Nili about that one later. But 9 archers for TaToH, 6 archers for Yo. He's not making more archers. So I'm wondering if maybe he doesn't want to plan on archers for the long term.
Full on Eagle play. Let's go in Castle.
I wouldn't like the fact that he has 0 right now, if that's his plan.
You got one in the queue, bro. One in the queue.
We'll see, though.
Check that. Yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, we already know it's going to be tough, right? And the tech options for the Chinese are just so good. Here we go, stable going up. So TaToH's going to have the choice of diversity, right, in his Castle Age military, and still even going to be the first one to arrive with better archer numbers at this point. He now wants to move forward. That's going to be 10, 11 crossbows here in the Castle Age. That's maybe where we go back to the benefit of the proximity of the gold and the berries and the fact that it's just one tower needed for Mr. Yo to mount a defense there, and he's got the majority of his walls up here on this side. So we'll be able to funnel those archers into a single choke point. Gets vision of them now. Interesting respect given here by TaToH when he's got the greater army numbers, but perhaps has a sense that he'll be first to Castle Age and wants to preserve those numbers for the upgrades.
I think he's also concerned there's going to be 6, 7, 8 Eagle Warriors chasing down in the second, because he did have the stable, but man, I have to say, again, before we get into the real complexities of the matchup in the long term, I really feel like TaToH's position is great. It's a position, that maybe Yo expected the Chinese to fall into. He's picked the Chinese in almost every single round prior to this. And TaToH, he's going to just chase these archers down. Yo had no plans to upgrade them, but he's going to get very little value from this besides just buying himself time to mass eagles at home.
Yeah, easy snipes for TaToH to clean this all up. In fact, even going to let the final 2 go run to the back and have the reinforcements clean those up. Perhaps that knight that he's producing now. It's the Eagle Warrior upgrade on the way, plus Squires. 3 barracks production here for the Mayans player, and already a siege workshop at home in defense.
Yeah, it's a good move here from Yo, and Yo is also going to counterattack on the other side with the Eagles. I'm liking the ideas here. Again, a lot of people care more about NAC4 than Nili, apparently. Thank you guys for the donations, but you know, that is a really awkward spot to move into if you're TaToH. It's a choke point. You see double barracks and the siege workshop.
Okay, saw the Scorpion get ejected there, but because you didn't know when the siege workshop went up, you definitely did not want to entertain the idea of diving through and getting an unlucky mangonel hit. Here we go. 4 Eagles looping around the south side. This side has been ignored for quite a while.
Yep.
And so could catch TaToH off guard. Hasn't even moved back to his berries, though. Look at that.
Think about the investment from TaToH. Ballistics is already in. Knights are on the field. 19 crossbows, soon to be 20. He hasn't done anything. He could, but he hasn't yet. Yo going to lose a couple Eagles there, perhaps, as he's trying to be sneaky on the other side. But I wonder if TaToH will notice this. If he can notice this, we could have some series-saving quick walls from TaToH.
Look at that. He's got that 6th sense, gets him up just in time. Now the Eagles will have to just look for damage against the crossbows.
Even the crossbows going into the tower there from TaToH. Beautiful stuff. And if he sees that palisade wall, he should be making a move. Yo knows he's vulnerable. Yo dropping a TC in a position as well, which seems just perfect to be able to thwart the damage here. I'm so excited. It feels like this game could continue to get much later, which means the Mayans could maybe get to their El Dorado Eagles.
Absolutely. All right, we've broken through the walls here of the palisades, but the TC goes up just in time. We also have a monk there to deal with the knights. I mean, fantastic recovery so here from Yo. Look at that. Vil counts entirely equal at this point in the game.
And TaToH hasn't dropped the second town center yet. So this is going to be extremely difficult for him economically. I mean, not difficult. He can go for the second TC. He's got great map control. But it is a frustrating feeling when you see your opponents completed the second one and you've done so little with your army investment.
Yeah, and you're going to have to make a choice of whether or not you want to buy. If you do want to match those TCs, you either have to buy stone because you're sitting at 75 or move a few villagers onto it. TaToH hasn't made that decision just yet.
Whoa.
And instead is going to continue to look for damage here. Idle a farm or 2, but does need to continue to respect the power of those Castle Age Eagles with the second armor upgrade and a Scorpion behind them.
19 Eagles now. So Knight Crossbow is still stronger, but 19 Eagles with what could soon be a Vil lead for Mr. Yo. And TaToH feeling the need to do even more damage. He's gone 2 stables at home. He's getting Thumb Ring now even. He's just going to try and go for the kill here. I'm not going to say it has to work because his economy is still great. But I've seen Yo win from these positions many, many times. A couple conversions here or there. The Siege getting the proper hits, and then that Eagle Mass being about 25 or 30 can be huge.
Yeah, thumb ring 10 seconds away, and might have perfect timing for an engagement here against these Eagles and Monks. Monk too a little far forward and does get sniped. So now that the Knights have that off the field, they can push forward with impunity, fighting in a choke point.
TaToH's going to win this fight. If there was no TC or tower,
Scorpion. No,
I think TaToH's going to win this fight. Thumb ring with ballistics. The Eagles should all die. Yo got 0 conversions, 0 hits from his Siege. TaToH moving in. Will the tower scare him? Oh, man, look at this confidence from TaToH. He should bring his Knights in here as well. He sees the Scorpion. He will get hit by it, but he'll kill it immediately.
Targets the Eagle instead, finds it with the Knight. Now he's looking for the fight straight up. Another conversion threatened, and so he backs away. Just a small bit of damage dealt. No Siege here for TaToH. Makes it tough to push into a TC and a tower.
This is definitely need to drop a town center situation for TaToH. And Yo dodging the shots here, and he's waiting.
Watch out with that mangonel! Okay,
oh my
only
goodness.
one crossbow goes down and a tiny bit of damage to a few others. So great recognition out of TaToH, and now pulling all of his units back. Would look to see whether or not the TCs get dropped. I do see 6 on stone and 300 in the bank.
Yep.
There we go. TC on the gold in the outer ring. He's going to look to boom up. Not too far behind in the villager counts just yet. But now the Mayans with a small eco advantage.
Yeah, TaToH has had some heavy commitment here to his army count, and he's really neglected the eco on a map that typically goes late on a player that took a game 2.5 hours. So, you know, an approach that I wasn't expecting here, but I think that he really has belief in the Mayan tech tree. And Crossbow Knight is not possible for the Mayans to stop in an open field. It's just the fact that TaToH hasn't been able to find an open field. Yo has not given him any opportunities. And every time TaToH pushes in there, Yo is making him think twice about it with the Siege, and with the Monks, and with the Eagles.
Yeah, it's just such a difficult choke point to try and force your way through. We've got Yo as well, wrapping another few units around the south. So once again, always looking for opportunities for damage with just a few Eagle raids. I think that TC will go up in time, though, for TaToH. I would almost like to see TaToH do the same with his next 4 Knights. Loop them around the south and through the back, just so that you have that option, either snipe Monks or a Mangonel. But he's battered his way through the walls. He's just got to avoid a big targeted hit here from the Mangonel, and he does just that, getting the Knights out in front, but the Eagles will take the hill.
Oh, my God.
And what a time for the game to pause.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I really hope no one's having a technical issue here. This is like one of the worst possible spots to see a pause. I'm going to imagine there is some type of issue. Yo is like, you know, they're talking to each other. Someone paused for whatever reason. They're going to be right back in business here. We can get back into the game, I'm sure. Here it is.
Here we go.
And, I mean, they're both taking the fight they probably would have taken initially. The monitor was turning off for TaToH. Oh, no, but he hasn't lost Knights to conversions. There's a TC there. Yo kind of has this army trapped right now.
Yeah, he's getting pushed into the TC, and we have a Siege Workshop and a House Wall coming down, so he's going to have to take the fight straight up, is TaToH. You got to loop some of those Knights back to deal with the Mangonel, and we're going to see big shots coming through. He's trying to micro it down, but boom goes the dynamite, and a bunch of crossbows lose their lives. The Eagles are looking to clean this all up and start rolling forward.
And TaToH finally decided, I need to attack here. I've invested far too much, but Yo says you waited too long. He shuts the door. Yo with a 15 villager lead. He's got a 30 army lead. Difficult game for TaToH to respond in.
An absolutely massive fight win here from Mr. Yo, and total control over the game at this point. More TCs on the map, more villagers, more military. It's all looking good for him now, and the Mayans pick may have just paid off. The patience as well that he was able to show in amassing those Eagle numbers and finding the right Mangonel shots. Rolling forward now around the top side with those 30 Eagles, looking to apply the killing blow to his opponent.
And the beauty here for Yo, you're not all in, right? You're not all in. TaToH has to all in to respond to you in some way. You can take your time, get relics, drop more town centers, which Yo is so well known for. Catching up on eco upgrades now. Very rarely ever going to see Yo lose from positions like this.
Not only that, I'm going to call back to the Jordan game that we had on Outcrop, where it was Eagle spam at the time into Cavs plus Chukanu. And Yo afterwards actually said that he believed the Halberdier switch was bad and that he should have stayed in Eagles entirely. So I would expect him to follow his own advice here and just continue to spam Eagles until the game is over.
Yeah, and for now he's doing it in Castle Age, so he does still have to be worried about the Knights and the Crossbowmen. But you're going to see Yo eventually drop castles, and that one castle is going to be needed to research El Dorado. And it's really that tech with the Eagles that is very difficult for the Chinese to stop. TaToH, he saw the other Eagles went away, trying to respect this raid here. But TaToH needs one big engagement before Yo is Imp. Yo is falling back home now, waiting for Imp.
Yeah. Yo exactly recognizes that, right? That's his only way to lose the game at this point. And so it is onus on TaToH to find some damage. He is getting those Knight numbers back up. He does have decent upgrades on those Knights. And Knights straight up in a battle against Eagles over time should win out. But there goes the third TC dropped as well. 20 villagers behind. He's going to put the chase on when it comes to the eco. Imp clicked for Yo, 2 minutes and 40 seconds away. And so here we have it for the first time. TaToH looping around the south side to see if he can find some damage. A lot less protected over here, so maybe could surprise Yo just enough.
TaToH went from 10 army after that massive clear up from Yo to 40 really quick. He's going to kill that monk. Just passing. Nope, monk dies. And his army comp is still better right now. I actually think Yo won't take the fight. I think he's going to hide underneath the TCs. Let's see. He's even adding a panic TC here.
Ooh,
the fight that TaToH needs is right here. Kill the villagers and attack the Eagles.
Yeah, big find. And because of those farms, he can't wall those villagers up against the Knights. The crossbows would come in and look for the snipes anyway, targeting farms. But even still, delays that TC, unfortunately, doesn't find any Vill picks as a result. Probably back at home, straightening out the eco just a little bit. Needs to continue to be wary of the presence of the Mangonel there, because if he can remove those crossbows with another big hit, then maybe the Eagles can take the fight again. 1 minute till the Imperial Age, though. Yo wants to delay this as much as possible. TaToH looking to dive in. Vill gets deleted to find a good surface area to find the fight. Okay, a few Knights are into the food eco, and now the retreat here on the other side. This is good juggling, but unfortunately, Yo's had great management over his Vills and hasn't taken much damage. It's only been one eco kill in this whole game.
I know, it's ridiculous, especially considering how many villagers are exposed even right here, right? I'm sure he will lose a few more now. But Yo would rather lose 20 villagers right now than lose 20 Eagles, because he knows that Elite Eagle can end this game. And TaToH's going to need a lot to stop it. Let's see if Yo can afford it. Elite Eagle's coming in. And normally the next click would be the Imp Armor, which Yo is using the market to try and afford here, and there it is.
There it is, coming in, so 35 seconds away. And at this point, I'm not even sure you want to use the Eagles back at home. Just send them all forward.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah,
that's what he's going to do.
This is what Yo's so good at, right? Like, he had a disaster start to the game because he lost the Eagle. Got a couple counterattacks in, and the reason TaToH made so much army is because he knows how devastating this point of the game is for the Chinese. And he just was never really able to find it, but he's going to find it here on the wood line. Yo not paying attention here. He's got to be careful. TaToH does have a defensive castle or two at home. And maybe there's a chance for TaToH. Maybe. He needs all-in Knights, though. Look,
final game. You're not going to tap out too early. You're going to make sure you push your opponent to the absolute limit. Force them to kill you off in this final one. The wall in there to save the villagers, but they're not working very efficiently at that. Second castle being dropped at home for safety here against the Elite Eagles that are coming in now. They're only lacking Blast Furnace when it comes to the upgrades, but that will be in soon enough. It's 50 Eagles arriving to the eco of TaToH in this moment. The castle will go up, and perhaps the garrison comes through, but still, that's going to be 30 idle villagers and possibly some dead. We went from 1 eco kill in this game up to 20 across the board so far, and more to surely come. But here we have TaToH winning a small fight over in Yo's base. On the other side, though, he's all about saving villager lives at this moment, and still a ton go down.
And it's prior to El Dorado. This only gets worse. In 20 seconds, these Eagles have 100 HP. Well, this is great for TaToH.
Exactly.
This is amazing.
Another 13 villagers go down. And so we're trading tit for tat, just like we have been all series long. It's still a nice Knight meat shield here to maybe deal with the Elite Eagles. It looks like they will make quick work of them, though, and eventually remove those crossbows from the field. First TC down. to the Eagles themselves. TaToH in full retreat mode with those villagers, trying to keep the numbers alive. He's pushed to the limit with his eco, nowhere close to the Imperial Age. It's forever castle at this point.
Yeah, now Yo is going to take this trade. He'll be happy with it. He doesn't have to worry about it. And now he can breathe and expand his economy, and he doesn't need to. Yo wins the series 4-3, just like in the group stage when he won so many of his best of fives 3-2. A gut-wrenching situation there for TaToH. Obviously, he committed so much to the attack, but Yo just one game better. Was a ridiculous series between these two competitors. It was a pleasure to cast it all because every single game was beautiful. And Yo, he relies on his Mayans, gets the W, moves on to the semifinal.
Mr. Yo not going to let it go to 2 hours this time around.
No.
He played that one pretty brilliantly. Again, just had the right transitions, gets the Eagle Mass up. Beautiful choke point there to make sure that the aggression could really never net anything.
So good.
From TaToH there. And then when TaToH finally feels like, okay, I got to make a dive happen, I need to find something. The fight that Yo was able to find, the great Mangonel shot, building the house wall to pincer them in towards that TC and pin them against the edge of the map. Beautifully executed, very deserving of the win overall, but hard fought by both of our players.
Yeah, it was so good. Like, just rewatch the army accounts and the upgrades, and then look at it from TaToH's perspective. Yeah, you've got the numbers, like you kind of know what Yo's doing, but if you do go in too far, there could be siege. If you do go in too far, you could lose 2 or 3 knights to monks. It was just that fine line, and then TaToH eventually had to dive in. I know there was the weird issue with the monitor there, but I'm not sure if that actually influences the outcome anyways.
Backs.
Oh, yes, that's true. Thank you for that. I was wondering why there was laughter from production. Talk about laughing at your own joke over there.
All right, beautifully done. I believe our winner is over at the couch. Should we double up on this one?
We absolutely should.
Let's do it. Let's go talk to the man himself. You're Victor, Mr. Yo. We'll catch you over at the couch.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, you get both of us on this one. Oh, okay, yeah, I like that.
I know what to do.
Victor goes to the middle. Mr. Yo, it went the whole way to the end, and it was traded home maps the entire way. How do you just feel about that straight out the gate, that it was you guys seemed to pick your winning maps the whole way through?
It's a good thing, though, right? It means that we all prepared really well, and we all got our home maps, and it's all up to the first game, I guess.
Well, then, speaking of that first game, let's talk about the Burgundians pick there, because you seem to be the player who's most willing to play the Burgundians on the most maps.
Yes.
Why is that? What's so special about that civ?
I like it. Like, Burgundian usually just wall up and do the eco, right? Because they have bonus. They can upgrade their attack earlier, and I like their unique unit. I don't know how is it called.
The Custelier.
Yeah, that one. I really like it.
Did you
kind of suit in my style? You know, I like to play the longer pace, like slowly.
Were there any mind games there on the Burgundians being a pick for Arena? Because I feel like most people would have assumed it would be for Arena, and I'm sure TaToH kind of had a surprise moment when he saw that.
Well, I told myself I'm gonna lose Arena anyway. Let's don't use the good civs.
Okay, fair enough.
Were you surprised at all that you were able to get away with the fast castle with just the walls and that you didn't take more damage early on in this one?
Yeah, I kind of knew. Like, I'm really prepared. Like, I war really early and knew he was going scouts or nothing. Because I only saw his barracks. I didn't actually see a stable. And since I'm full walling, there's no way he can get in.
Gotcha. Well, eventually I think we move on to game number 2 here. And I believe game number 2 was Arena. Now, you just told us that you thought you would lose this game. Tell us your thoughts when you saw the couple ballistas stroll into your base there. It's got to be new for you.
I found it quite funny, to be honest.
Watch your face here, because you react as well.
Let's see. I think you... Yeah.
It was so good.
Did you think, like, let's say he doesn't cut into your base, do you still think you're in the worst position in that moment? Or was it still, doable for you?
I think it's still doable. I laugh because I try to do this in a ranked game, like team games. And it was so stupid, and it didn't work at all. So when I saw that, I just remember my game.
That's funny.
In general, he brought this Khmer pick out. He had played it once during the group stage, but then had played multiple arena games where he didn't bring the Khmer out again. So when he brought it onto this map, did you absolutely know for sure he was going to do the same strategy? Or did you think maybe he would go for a different approach and more aggression instead of that boom?
Nah, it's kind of his only choice, to be honest. And I don't know how to deal with it.
Well, the good news is, in the end, it didn't ultimately affect the results in this game. Now, map 3 here was really interesting because there was just so much pressure and aggression coming out of this Dravidian's player, and it looked rather scary for you at this point. Less military, less villagers. What did you think was like the winning or turning moment for you?
I think TaToH made a mistake, like going still want to go man arm after he hit the castle age, and they lose all them to my towers and my archers, right?
Yeah, big shot
He
there.
should just do economy. It
Gotcha.
would be way better.
Okay, big shot there. And then at this point, you pretty much felt like you had the game. But did you think you were going to lose at any point in this game? Because it looked bad for you.
Yeah. I mean, I had a hole in my wall,
Yep.
right? And after that, I lost tons of villagers. And then I just thought I'm pretty dead. But then I realized he was like throwing the army to my tower. At this point, I know I still have a chance. And Dravidian's late game is just horrible.
Yeah. Agreed. That was going to be my next question. So
That plus Magyar's, this composition in the end.
Yeah.
I think Magyar Cav Archers with recurve bow has to be one of the most fun units to play with
Yes,
at the top level.
That's a dream combo.
Well, so here, yeah, you'll take this one 2-1. I'm trying to remember the order of the map.
It's been
I
a
don't want to get
while.
ahead of the replay, you know.
It's okay. We
yes.
can't remember as well.
Golden Swamp. Okay, what was your opinion here? Because we thought you had a really phenomenal start early with the water control, but even still, the Vikings were able to overpower you.
I think I play in my standard perfect in this game. But TaToH did a little gate thing between his stocks, which is very smart, and that keeps me from killing his stock. And I don't know, I try everything. I just don't know if I can actually have a chance to win somehow.
Yeah, there was a moment, we didn't capture it there on the replay itself, and I think it was actually just before this. You put these 4 docks up on the front, and it looked like you were willing to take the fight, and in that moment, all of your gold miners stopped working, and you didn't have gold to produce anymore. Do you remember that moment?
Yeah,
It was before the castles went up.
But did I stop making ships? Like, I noticed there's 0 villager on gold, then I just used the market real quick.
Yeah, that's right. The
You did,
response
you
was
did,
to use
you
the
did.
market instead.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
I just can't remember if there was a delay.
yeah.
yeah, I think it was
don't
all
remember.
like everything happening at once was probably just bad timing there. What a game here, yo. I mean, I don't have a singular question on this, but is Malians a civilization that you feel can compete with like the Japanese, the Dravidians, the Lithuanians, the Byzantines? Because I haven't seen a lot of players pick the Malians on that one.
That's why they are bad.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Malian's like slightly
Worse?
worse
Okay,
than the civ you mentioned.
okay. You pick Hindustanis here to counter the Franks?
No, that's not a counter pick. That's the only choice I have.
Okay.
Okay, so really, at this point, you're kind of playing for the 7th map. You have a feeling that this one's going all the way.
Yeah. Indian doesn't counter Franks.
Okay. Yeah, interesting.
think.
You had Berbers as well. A reason to not go for Berbers?
Don't feel like it.
Okay, fair enough. If you
fair
don't
enough.
feel like it, then you just shouldn't do
I just
it, right?
want to play safe. Like
Okay.
nothing risky.
Yeah, so TaToH's able to take this one with solid military control, and then we go to enclosed. When we were going to enclosed, there's a 7th map, though. Did you have little thoughts about the 2-hour game in the back of your head and whether or not this series was going to go on forever?
Yeah, it's even painful to pick this map, you know.
Also, too, losing your eagle early, right? Like, at
Yeah.
this point, we were very worried for the fact that you
Yeah,
didn't
me too.
exactly have the scouting of his gold and whether or not he was on that yet. Like, what was going through your mind in that moment in terms of how you'd have to come back in it?
I was like, shit. And then I know Then I saw he was up to fiddle age really late, and I was curious what he was doing, like fast castle or something. Then I sent out a unit and I saw him making archer range there. Then I know I can play safely.
Yeah, basically it felt like the whole game ended up coming down to this fight here. You held such a great defense on the north, building up those eagle numbers. Were you surprised when he decided to dive in like this, looking for damage?
No, like I know he has to do it. Like if I was his position, I would have to dive in a moment, because I have economy and Mayan's making eagles and he was making 2 units in the same time, crossbow and knights, which will eventually spend a lot of his economy. Like he have to dive in.
What do you have to say about TaToH? This is this was a revenge situation for you. You lost to him 3-1 in the groups.
Yeah.
You now beat him 4-3, and the unfortunate thing for him, obviously, is he is out, right? What do you have to say about TaToH as a player?
Well, he played amazingly, and I respect him as a really tough opponent, and I'm happy that I get my revenge.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you move on. You will be in a semifinal. Dash, what do you have to say about that?
Perhaps we could pull the bracket up just so the viewers can kind of take a look at the journey that you've already had to go on to get here. It was a 4-2 victory over Nicov, now just going the distance against TaToH. But next up, it'll be Hera. He is undefeated in this tournament through the group stage. That's what got him the #1 seed, and it'll now be a best of 9 for that matchup. So I really want to know your thoughts here against the #1 seed in the tournament.
Well, first, best of 9 gonna be fun, right? The good thing is I can have a smoke break. And
Do you know what game that's after already? Have you done your research?
no, but Nili said there will be one.
Okay, there you go.
And yeah, Hera is playing better than ever in this tournament, and he must be the toughest opponent I will ever face. It's gonna be hard, but I will try my best.
Well, every single tournament or every single series that you've been a part of at this event has been an absolute joy to watch. So I would expect nothing less of that one to come. Fantastic win for you today. We'll let you go get some rest and gear up to watch the second semifinal. If we could just get your thoughts on how it might play out before we do, it'll be Villese versus TheViper. What are your thoughts there?
Well, Viper is sick. I'm not sure about his condition, but I think Villese played really good recently, and I think Villese can win.
Can we get a scoreline? Vinchester didn't give a scoreline earlier.
Maybe 4-3 or less.
Another 7 games. Let's go. That would make me a happy camper back there spectating. Well, once again, Yo, congratulations. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. With that, it looks like we're setting up behind us for a little bit of bounce play.
Indeed, that's the plan. GG, well played, Mr. Yo.